All right, let's try that again. Good evening, everybody. It's been a wild week at work, and I'm obviously struggling to get the stream started on time lately. The good news is, a lot of the stuff that has been taking the time is going to be wrapping up. So I think we're getting to a good place. But obviously, it's been really hard to get the stream started on time, and I do apologize for that. Now, I'm going to need to change one small thing in the background on Twitch, and then we will be good to get started. Now, today's a bit of a special day. It's the last sort of early look that we get at House of Light, because House of Light's going to be releasing tomorrow on Steam and GOG and anywhere else. I think it's just Steam and GOG, but wherever fine games are sold. What's going on here? Sorry, it looks like there's a bit of funny stuff happening on the laptop. But yeah, so we are going to be continuing on with the playthrough that we've kind of started through the course of House of Light. Now, I think there were a couple of questions in terms of what the status of the playthrough is going to be. So my view here is that while we were playing an early look at House of Light, I don't think we have run into any of the material that got like a major change over the course of the beta. It's not to say that things didn't change, and it's not to say that there may be some things that I might have overlooked. But I think for the on the main points, we have I think we've got some decent progress in the game without. Oh, cool. Um, yeah, I feel at this point we've got enough progress to make it worth continuing, but we haven't gone so deep in the experience that it would sort of be spoiled by by not seeing the release version. Now I have some plans overall in terms of the House of Light expansion specifically. I know a lot of you have. Or I've told a lot of you the overall plan that is every save or like series of saves that I have will ultimately get a full playthrough. Now, whether I do them all on stream, whether I do them all on whether I do them on YouTube or something like that. The intention is to have a number of histories loaded up here. So this is the one from the Steam stream that we did back when the game first came out. This is one that we did for GOG. This is one that we did back in January of this year for the Aganalia of Janus. This is the one that's been the YouTube series. And then this was sort of this I believe was the first full victory that I had for the game. So there's a few of these that I will be deleting. I should actually mention that my save folder for House of Light. I've cleaned out a few of them, but I believe my save folder was measured in gigabytes. But anyways. So the plan here is going to be that this particular playthrough we will see through to the end. For people who are maybe worried that some of the further stories have been closed off as a result of doing that, number one, I don't actually really think that that's true. And number two, there will be other saves that we play that will cover those. So I'm certainly not done with Book of Hours. I know that Weather Factory, I mean, they've always done a lot of post-launch support, so I wouldn't be surprised if there are some further upgrades that are done. If you can just give me a second here, I want to see what's going on my other machine. Sorry, if you can just give me 1 minute here. I'm a little concerned about something I'm seeing. Sorry about this. I just got a little surprised by something. I need to just very quickly deal with something on my machine. I wonder if I can deal with this on my PC. I'm sorry. I should have figured this out before the stream. Just I didn't realize it was a problem. Okay, I think we can probably make a little bit of progress in the game, and then I can move back to that. Where was I? But yeah, let's actually jump straight in, and then I can deal with anything that comes up. Now, I will confess, because we did do Burden of Command on Monday, I'm feeling a little directionless in terms of the session, although I do know that we were working on another salon. And then, if I recall correctly, I was also trying to figure out how to store the granite and such. Okay, do I have a memory? Okay, I'm not hanging on to a memory, which is a shame. Am I... Okay, I'm not leveling anything up right now. We are either going to be reading the Time of... Nope, we read the Time of Division. Okay, so that needs to get added to the... I wish I knew which shelf this should go on. So we will eventually be reading a Forge text. None of these are really relevant, though. So actually, at this point, I think I'll just hang on to the Storm. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so sorry about this. We are going to enjoy the lovely music while I get rid of this. Delude, lovely to see you again. Oh, I arrived crashing through the pre-fractured window at the sensible amount of melodrama. Lovely to see you. And Xeron DRRE, welcome. I apologize for the haphazard start. I'm starting late, and then I've got some madness going on in the background of my stream right now. So I just want to take a second here to I want to make sure that all of this is getting properly all of this is just getting properly dealt with. But lovely to see you, Daily Daybreak. I will be singing your praises in just a minute. Okay, more accurately, I thought I would be fixing this thing, but looks like the computer's just thinking now. Okay, let's see here. So the problem that I've got here, I'm trying to find out. I've got something going in the back of the on a laptop beside me here, and it actually looks like there's a problem with space. Okay. I think I've got this fixed now. And again, I'm sorry to do all of this during the stream, but I kind of got caught by surprise on this. All right, Olaf, long time no see. All right, everybody, I'm very sorry about the. I maybe should have put the break sign up, but I think I've more or less dealt with. There's one last weird thing I'm looking at, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to deal with that in sort of a short time span. But I think I've at least got the fighting chance of getting this thing fixed while I'm working in the background. So, Daily Daybreak says, it's been a wild few weeks in terms of productivity. I haven't been streaming because all my free time has gone into doing a crash course on sewing your own clothes. That's really cool. So for those of you who don't know, we've got a couple of people, I'll say, related to creating streams in the chat. One is a broadcaster, and the other is a moderator extraordinaire. So you've got Daily Daybreak, who is somebody who originally found me through Brace Yourself Games' wonderful Rift of the Necrodancer. Definitely plays the game at a much higher level than I do. But after following Delude, I found someone who also really likes to play the Elder Scrolls games, which I'm sure a number of you will know. I have played in the past as a particular Dark Elf. And then we've got Olaf in here, who is somebody who is a moderator for Miss Ariella, who I have not seen live in a while, although I think that may just be because she's dealing with her own kind of priorities and sort of preoccupations in life. But Olaf is somebody who I've had the great pleasure of both being in a chat as a participant with, as well as somebody who is a very loyal follower and viewer on this channel, especially when I wind up going very late, because I happen to know that this hour is not convenient for him. But it is always appreciated. I hope you are well, my friend. Now, actually, I guess my shop's not going to let me do anything with this. There was a comment on, I think, the soft amber pumpkin. There was a suggestion that there was cuckoo honey. Related to there was a cuckoo honey angle that I could work with. I just don't think we have. Yeah, we don't have anything we can work with here. Okay, this thing on the side here is going to drive me absolutely insane. So let's go through the evening, and we'll see what the rest of the day brings. All right, grapes from the vine. So this, I think, was to make the pheasant. Although where I'm going to find space for all this is a whole other question. Actually, you know what? Let's just chuck the rock. And a bronze spin tree for my trouble. Olaf, is it your birthday and I didn't realize it? If so, I owe you a very special happy birthday. And is there something special I can do for you to celebrate it? You know, other than being on time. All right, let's see if we can follow something in terms of the pumpkin and the cuckoo honey here. All right, so on its own, that didn't do anything. We could add the spice scales. Yeah, that doesn't do it either. The other possibility is the amber pumpkin. And yeah, again, that isn't enough. It is indeed today. My goodness, Olaf. Very happy birthday to you. I feel like I should have known this ahead of time. Obviously, I didn't. But thank you for letting us know. Thank you for your sub. We should celebrate with Stargazy Pie. Now, Delude, I know you've seen the description of Stargazy Pie and the images that I shared, but did you know that you can actually make Stargazy Pie in the expansion? I don't remember if you were around for that or not. I think I can find... Oh, there it is! We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. I've not seen that. It was a night. Yes. Okay. So yeah, in the expansion, one of the things that they have added is the ability to. So we're looking to host a salon in Hush House, and so one of the things that we are sort of setting up for here is cooking all of the dishes. Now I've got most of them ready to go. When I take a look at my sheet here, it's really just the cold pheasant with grape salad, and then anything that I haven't made yet. So, wait a minute. I think I have a mushroom meringue in here. No, apparently a meringue with a basket of apples I have not yet made. Although I think I have a basket of apples, don't I? Maybe I don't. Basket of onions. But yeah, I don't think the team could get away with adding cooking in this game and not giving you the option to make Stargazy Pie. So, I think today our goal is going to be to read Skin of Silver. Now, I need to remember what I was trying to level up with Skin of Silver. Well, that's concerning. Oh, here we go. Okay, so... Now you want cold pheasant cut into pieces and tossed with yogurt and tarragon. I have a feeling you were going to like this expansion, then, Daily Daybreak. Okay, so it seems to me like I was working on Nyctodromi. So we had the passage, we had the wolf wife. Oh yes, now I remember. We were taking transformations and liberations to level 7. Okay, so let's see what we're working with here. We've got Skin of Silver. We would add the I just want to make sure that I've got the details here correct. So probably our most sensible choice here would be transformations and liberations. Now, Deep Mandayak, I believe, already has Forge. So yes, that would be sufficient to read the book on its own. So we will start with that. I think I will bring Mr. Kill in just so we can get some memories out of him. Mr. Kill always enjoys a chance to catch up with me. If you don't choose a topic, Mr. Kill will offer help as a friend. And I think we'll do the usual routine of working at the Sweet Bones and restoring elements of the soul and such, but at this point I think I can afford to go to the moor. And we might as well pick up a few things at Crowcross Sands as well. So I would like to get a few other things done. Oh yes, one other thing is, while I probably won't be able to use much from the Time of Division, I am going to read it just to make sure that that I know where it should go. Oh, this is also in Deep Mandayak, so we're gonna have to wait on that. Okay, the sunny day probably won't do that much for me. Now, I do have the option... Oh, sorry. Spoke too soon. Mr. Kill can always spare a few hours to help a friend. Mr. Kill, Ryan Spry, doesn't mind stopping for a gossip, add something to enhance Mr. Kill's effectiveness for the day, or just talk. Unlike some assistants, Mr. Kill can make use of wood. It is spring and the landlady has served me a slice of her stargazy pie with the pilchard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust. And I've carried a memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. This will complete once dawn has come. Honey or beeswax, if I'm careful. Cuckoo honey, if the Blamarende have been by to visit their infant nobility. Alright, so as always, it's a little bit of a challenge to find a place for all of our goodies. Yeah, I think right now I'm going to... oh, sorry, we are going to make the cold pheasant. Assuming, yes, I do have the pheasant here, so we'll use the Arab. So add the grapes. Make cold pheasant with grape salad, a dish with grail, heart, nectar, rose, and sky. So that's now true for the house. And yeah, so the apple meringue is the one that I haven't accounted for yet that I know I can make. No, I don't believe you have, Delude. Please let me, please fill us in. Dead men don't tell no bloody tales. Well, who'd listen? Okay, so that regret will probably be helpful given that we are looking to level up Transformations and Liberations, which has got Forge and Moth. So I could be working on the memories that I need already, but I'm okay just seeing what we get from Mr. Kill, and then sort of progressing a little bit later through the day. We've got more time. We're basically a minute away from finishing the book. And then for the rest of the day, we'll be able to generate the memories that I need. So, better now. Okay, so this one we're just going to keep using at the Sweet Bones to earn a little bit of money. I won't, obviously that's not going to be the priority all the time, but right now I have a little bit of free time to make this all work. All right. So here we go, cold pheasant with grape salad. This was the sort of dish you might expect to find for a late supper after the theater or halfway through a ball. Our Bella Boxer, this is a first course, and 1 heart, 1 nectar, 1 rose, 1 sky, and 1 grail. And of course we've already enjoyed one in a different salon, but I think this one's probably full up. I'm starting to lose track of where I kept all the food, which is going to be a bit of a problem, but... yeah, I don't think that's going to fit. Neither is this, although I wonder if I move the egg... There's definitely a spot I could put it. There we go. So one of the reasons to go out to the moor now is to get mushrooms and to get get apples. You are working on Sheogorath as he appears in Oblivion. That is a great choice of a costume. Alright, so this granite slab really doesn't do anything for me here. We'll chuck that. And I think I'm going to do the same with the sand. I know it doesn't really help me in terms of, like, I don't get anything from that by doing so, but I think we're at a point here, I really need to free up some inventory space, and my focus for today is going to be on leveling up transformations and liberations, and then we'll sort of take care of the rest following that. Okay. When something is given to the sea, it rarely returns, although of course I did. And we've got Dead Men Don't Tell No Bloody Tales. Who'd listen? Designing an asymmetrical collar and lapel has been an adventure, I'll bet. I've always been... Everybody's got kind of their hobby that they always just seem to have these amazing talents for. So, and there's a few people who either are quite good at knitting or you know, just generally working with fabrics and other similar designs. But there's definitely some like specific touches that people will do that always kind of amaze me in terms of what they've been able to pull off. So I know, I mean, I know your love of the series, so there's no doubt as to why you're making that particular item. But I also think you probably could have chosen a simpler one as well. All right, Skin of Silver, the epic of the final battle of the Lionsmith with the Remnant Giant Antaios. As always, the Lionsmith drew his strength from metal and Antaios from stone, but the Lionsmith began to suspect also that this time Antaios was drawing power from the moon. The Lionsmith beseeches the three for their assistance, and the Menescate favors him with a skin of silver, like water, like mercury, so he too can drink power from the moon. For, she whispers, he too will one day be drawn into a perfect balance. So for that, we got 2 Disciplines of the Hammer, and we have Fear. So I'm going to make sure that I get Fear on the right shelf to begin with. I'm trying to remember what my Fear shelf is. Here we go. And whether or not this is an efficient use of my resources, I do want to read the time of division. It's entirely possible that this also gives Fear, but I at least want to I want to handle it and be sure. Yeah, no, I mean, this is one of the things, like, it's challenging when you're learning something, but I think there's a lot of value in actually, as you say, in challenging yourself, because number one, you know, you're not really going to find those limits if you don't. But second of all, I've definitely learned this with mathematics usually, but not exclusively. It's always fun to start reading math textbooks, I found, because there's lots of sort of easy problems that I can knock down pretty easy. They're quite straightforward to handle. And that's the fun bit, right? That's like you're doing the first levels of a game, you know, there's a few different analogies that you can draw, but, you know, overall, these are the times when it's pretty easy to just make progress. But of course, it's those times when it doesn't feel so easy, when, you know, it might even be frustrating, or you're wondering whether or not you're cut out for this sort of thing, which are the ones where you really grow. So I commend you for doing that, just simply because it's, you know, I don't think anybody would blame you for trying something simpler because it's for fun, but I think it's really admirable when people actually push themselves that way. And this past weekend, your parents invited you home to celebrate your sister's graduation from paramedic school. That's quite good. Well, she actually finished her paramagic training. The real reason why she wanted you home was because she wanted to tell you in person that you're going to be an aunt. Congratulations, or early congratulations. I am going to celebrate by having a seat in the imposing reading armchair. Nestle imposingly. Investigate the object. You won't use this up or consume it by doing this. That's wonderful news. So yeah, I can see why you've been busy and haven't been streaming lately. All right, I need to take a quick second here and see if there's anything with Forge or Moth that I can get while we're... that I can't get from Mr. Kill, where we need 4 more. We're getting the touch, actually, so I just need 3 more. Foresight we can get from Mr. Kill. Regrets, Gossip, Salts. Doesn't have Moth. Impulses, Savage Hymns, Earth Signs, Cheerful Ditties. I think this is one of the cases where we don't have a whole lot on the shelf to... Okay, you know what? I'm going to accept that maybe I can't have a perfect run, and we will... Oh. Right, sorry, these are the VAC texts that I can't read. Oh, actually, no, a pattern's a good start, so... I think I've read all of these at this point, so we'll start again at advice on containment. Okay, so that's 3 of the 5 that I need. And I think, yeah, I am going to have to move on. So we'll get Impulse, if I have it, and Foresight. And let's do... I think we'll start within the Mallory again. Accounting of the Asclepian mysteries of the roots of the house. So in a minute we'll have the memories that we need for transformations and liberations, and we'll probably we should have enough time to be able to pick up the rest. Okay, there's the Gossip. Actually, no, Gossip is his Rose, so that doesn't help me. It is spring, and the landlady has served me a slice of her stargazy pie, with the pilchard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust. I should probably at this point be working on the moor. I should have enough to be able to do all the other things that I want. And for the tryst, I think I can use the shaft to level up transformations and liberations, so we will go to the beach as well, even if I do wind up throwing away what we get. Imposing reading armchair, nestle imposingly. A printed card now reads, a printed card reads, now probably safe to sleep in this chair, GC. Hello, Selphea. Twitch didn't tell you you were live, and you've been held in streamerless work prison. Good to see you. Well, for what it's worth, Selphea, I actually have been having a couple of laptop problems on the other screen, so it was a slow start for the stream tonight, but it's great to see you again. I don't think I actually did the proper shout-out command, so allow me to highlight Delude Daybreak to begin with. So Delude, again, as I had said before, originally came to the channel through Rift of the Necrodancer, but as somebody who actually also plays the Elder Scrolls games. I've mostly seen Morrowind, but also I did see you play the Shivering Isles expansion to Oblivion. And Sylphea has actually been playing a really interesting game, Sunhaven, lately. Or at least that's what I've been able to catch. But Sylphea is a wonderful Australian broadcaster, somebody who tends to stream almost kind of at the opposite side of me. So it's a stream that when I can, I like to host just because I sort of know people will be in good hands. But unfortunately for me, I don't always get to spend a whole lot of time just because my new work hours have been creating some difficulty in terms of just being able to show up on time. But I absolutely appreciate it when Sylphea hangs out, and it gives me a chance to talk about all the wonderful things you all can enjoy. But I hope you're doing well, and I hope work isn't too dull for you. All right, a true and complete accounting of the Asclepian mysteries at the roots of the house. Descriptions of the Asclepian mysteries reproduced by one Riley Gressa from supposedly a much older text. It's unlikely to be genuine, but it makes a reference to the house without walls and its wood right there in the prologue. This is very obviously not an antique text. At the very least, it has been badly mutilated, but it contains substantial intriguing material, especially a persuasive comparison of the house without walls, without doors, to the human body with its many portals. The direction of death is down, the book explains. The peacock door has been considered a rent or an abrasion, but in some respects is more like a mouth, if not a more treasured point of entry. Discussions of the doors include a rite which may conjure creatures through those doors, although key incantations are missing. Impulse. It doesn't exactly make sense, but I understand it anyway. Sounds like half my writing. The time of division. All right, so it looks like something else. This, unfortunately, doesn't help me because we've got one of several books that we've read. So I'm going to read the time of division again. Advice on containment. Thirza Blake discusses ways to keep wood things out of trouble and Mantis things in it. Thirza is irritatingly light on specifics, insisting above all that the duties of an adept are the duties of a host, and that a conjured spirit should be kept in luxurious a vessel as possible. Thirza notes the similarities between the lantern-long habit of scrying, returning to the physical world, despite their absence of a body, by entering a mirror or light, and Pomander's techniques of confining Mantis Long to mirrors. She wonders whether Pomander himself might be lured to visit Hush House if provided with a sufficiently alluring scrying. And in the Mallory, a lively account of the creation of each jewel at the world's beginning. Lively, yes, but almost entirely nonsense. Pearl, the tears of the forgotten moon, caught by the lionsmith in his net. Ruby, the blood of the first bird, stung by the lionsmith's hammer. The author is either terribly misinformed of the nature of the hours, or one begins to suspect intentionally throwing up a smokescreen to confuse seekers of the invisible arts. But there are useful crumbs of fact to be picked out of the daft and gaping cracks. Wits forge and fire blast, meanings press and screw. Coleridge on Donne's poetry. All right, so first things first, let's get transformations and liberations leveled up. Now we're eventually going to take this to level 7, so I should probably just move these to begin with. We'll take Disciplines of the Hammer. So the ones I want to take care of are the ones that Mr. Kill will be, are the ones that Mr. Kill potentially will eat up. Actually, the best thing for me to do would be to start with, yeah, so if I do Regret, Impulse, Pattern for, oh no, I have to use all of these. Okay, never mind. And for this one, I think I'll use the Shout. At last, I'm something of an authority in this. Okay, so counterintuitively, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to let the 1 minute run by just so I can know exactly what's in this book, and then we'll fill it up. We'll fill up the rest at the end of the Here. Oh, we had actually quite a bit of rain just before I went into the house. So looks like it's cleared up now. But this is a wonderful game to play in the rain. Well, when it's raining out. Maybe in the rain will probably harm your computer, but... Okay, so the Foresight's welcome. I'll also I'll use one of the chairs again. I guess in this case we'll make the grand reading armchair. Skill is now level 6. Its power aspects have also increased. So for that we will use the... I guess it doesn't really matter which one. But we'll use the Whist. Investigate the object. Not too worried about the gossip and such. Right now, all I'm really concerned about is finishing off what I already had planned for the day. I was hoping that we might be able to level up a couple more skills, but honestly, Transformations and Liberations is a nice one to work with. So I'm not too upset with that being the one we got. I think what I might try to do as well, assuming that I have the elements of the soul, I might try to do some gardening. Just so, you know, having a nice little stock of grapes would be nice. We can restock our vegetables. There's definitely a few things that I can do, but that's a secondary concern. I want to make sure that we've read the relevant books. All right, the time of division, in which Amira Zara prophesies the events later known as the Intercalate, when the hour called Sun and Splendor will be divided. Actually, there was a point. Well, I'll read the entries here. So the sun will be divided. The sun will be divided that it might not sire children. Still, its children shall be 4 in number, and its children shall be 7 in number, and its children shall also be numberless. The numberless shall open the way for the 7, and the 7 shall consume the 4. Amira prophesies 4 great wars before the second dawn, when the sun in splendor shall rise again. She cautions sunrise is blood, and I foretell now that the sun shall rise from blood, yet not the color of the blood, nor the hour of night. She includes a rite she speculates will be necessary for the second dawn. Okay, so this is a pattern. I'll add that to the list right now. Now, somebody in chat had asked if this was referring to Worm War, and I thought that this might also refer to the War of the Roads. But I suppose there's another way of reading this, which is if it says events later known as the Intercalate. So the War of the Roads, I believe, would predate the Intercalate, because the Intercalate is actually a real historical event in addition to a major one inside of the inside of the secret histories. So if you look, I don't want to make this stream entirely about Wikipedia, but it is a convenient reference that everybody can sort of agree on. But in this case, if you go to the timekeeping entry, intercalation or embolism, in timekeeping is the insertion of a leap day, week, or month into some calendar years to make the calendar follow the seasons or moon phases. Lunisolar calendars may require intercalations of days or months. And I believe there is a specific event. There was an adoption of a calendar. I'm trying to remember. I believe it was the adoption of the Gregorian calendar. There's definitely a timekeeping moment in history which coincides with the intercalate in this setting. I'm pretty sure it's around that time. But one way or another, maybe just leaving aside the specifics, if the War of the Roads predates that, and this is talking about events that will precede the Second Dawn, then in theory this may mean the Worm Wars, and I believe the worms bred in the corpse of the sun, which of course would mean, the Worm Wars would happen after the sun's division. So the second reading of this one suggests that, yeah, probably it was Worm Wars being discussed, and I may be, the emphasis was in a different place. Oh, you know what? I think I remember why this didn't wind up shelved. Anyways, we've got it shelved now, and I'm not being very coherent, but oh, sorry, 1 second. There's some progress on the laptop stuff, so. I don't need to spend the whole night attending to this, but I want to see if I can get this figured out. The Grand Reading Armchair, nestle grandly, once a favoured chair of the Treasurer of the Curia, an office that Fraser Strathcoyne often held, and much preferred to the post of librarian. So there's the touch. Again, we're looking to get 6 memories from transformations and liberations. So we've got the foresight pattern and touch. Now, I may have a small problem. Okay, so let's think about what I need. So 3 more memories. None of these count. Fear doesn't help me. Pattern we've already got. Foresight we've already got. Storm doesn't help me. Intuition doesn't help me. Hindsight doesn't help me. Confounding parables doesn't help me. Contradictions doesn't help me. Foresight we have. Regrets, that does help me, so that's 1. Gossip doesn't. Salt doesn't. Impulses does, so that's 2. Okay, so I think I'm in the rather unfortunate position of needing to... I think I need to make a name day riddle in this case. So I would have preferred to have done this earlier. But I'll live with our choice for now, but now I also need to think about where... Ugh. Maybe? Well, we could probably use the altar down here. Okay, so Edicts Liminal, Trist. Well, that might have been an option, but... Okay. My better option then is to take the occult scrap. Yeah, okay. I have what I need. So we'll take the Whist, and we will get the, not the Foresight, the Impulse. We'll get the Regret. We'll use use the Tryst in this case. So that means I need to keep the Shapt aside. Guess we're back to Lady Ava's Repose. Okay, let me just double check what I'm doing here. So we've got, yeah, the Regret, we've got the Impulse. The Occult Scrap would be the 6th one, which I'm not ready to get yet, but we'll use the Faust when the time comes. So the remaining Health and Core can be used for gardening. The Gardens of Hush House hold plants with many virtues for those with the wisdom to recognize them. Add a suitable skill. Earth is quiet, not... Wait, so yeah, these are the... This is the vine. Okay, well... We can still work with the bees. Bees, like librarians, are not to be trifled with. And let's do some other gardening instead. Oh, sea holly, nope. Moth orchid works, though. Moth orchid is soft as velvet to the touch, except when it changes. Okay, we are set up for the day. I'm gonna see if I can find a new location for the Vase of Rushes. I think basically I'm just looking for any tables or a place where these might fit. I know most of the tables now have tea or something like that on them, but I figure it doesn't hurt to make the place a little more decorative. Okay. Then I will return them to nature. An afternoon spent profitably reading newspapers to the curious, writing affectionate letters for the lonely, steering farmers through the requirements of the Ministry of Agriculture. So I wasn't planning on making that a full money-making day, but it works for what I've got right now. And we'll keep talking to Mr. Kill. One thing that I can do eventually is get some more eggs from Terrence and Tuppence. But a slightly better use of my time is collecting vegetables, which I'll eventually be able to turn into food. Well, I'll be able to restore Terrence and Tuppence after I get the eggs, so. The order isn't quite as urgent. Okay, unexpected stolen secret. So one of the dilemmas that I have right now is that it's early enough in the season for me to be able to host the salon. I think I'm gonna have to sacrifice. Yeah, okay, that's fine. The Shavenlock Tantra, also known as the one who has shaven his hair, this, the story goes, is the lore that even the shape-changing Vanarus rejected. The Tantra speaks glowingly of those who are prepared to abandon their old self to seek a new and higher self. It warns that once the change has truly begun past the third mark, a return to the old self is dangerous and painful. Whisper your secrets into the earth, burn them in fire, scatter them in the sea. Still, they will cling to your hair. The Tantra cautions. It provides an occult riddle that it claims is sometimes the answer to the riddle of the Hunter's Gate. Night, Lady Ava's Repose, a meditation on the drowning of Lady Ava de Wolf and her 2 grandchildren, written in the years when the estate was abandoned by Father Theo, once the de Wolf family chaplain, one of the few to remain on the Isle in those desolate years. There are so many stories of her heritage, so many rumors of her persistence. We might easily choose to believe the grand twins escaped, even that they live yet beyond the sea. Father Theo has come to believe that Ava sought an escape from the family curse, the pale heritage of Haffren, her forebear, or the curse placed on the line by the cunning man Red William in the time of Hendrik de Wolf. He had begun by believing neither curse was real, but as the book concludes, he decides that he is determined to believe in them rather than accept the 3 deaths as a futile tragedy. One does not so easily escape the long necessity of faith, he concludes. So there's the regret. You know, I wonder if cooking more meals for oneself is actually good for the soul. I often don't have time or patience to cook, but thinking on it, I wonder if preparing something is a sort of investiture of the self that we reap dividends from. There's certainly something especially satisfying about a meal one makes themselves. I think that's a reasonable way of looking at it, Daily Daybreak. There's actually 2 things that have sort of been a catalyst. Well, actually, there's 3 things that have been a bit of a catalyst for me to try and cook more for myself. This has actually helped. Because the descriptions of the food and just the process of preparing everything, like one of the things I really love about this DLC is the whole idea of planning the salon and all of the work that goes into that. And they've done this wonderful job of sort of creating the feeling of preparing all of this food and all of the work involved. And it's something that is very easy to overlook or just think is like, well, yeah, obviously they're going to do that. But it's really, really well done. But I also, as long as I find something sufficiently nerdy, I will tend to get into that as well. And so there is a book, let me get the exact title for it. I haven't made that much progress in it, but it's enough for me to, it's sort of enough for me to get started. I believe it's called On Food and Cooking, but let me just make sure that I've got the... Yeah, On Food and Cooking by Harold McGee. And this one's kind of interesting because it gives you, like, the opening chapter is on milk, and like it gives a whole history in terms of, you know, our relationship with animals, how that came about, how cheese is a way of preserving milk in a, like when you don't have refrigeration available. It's just one of these things that is a very well researched and interesting book, in addition to being, you know, about cooking. So that to me is an angle that is sufficiently interesting for me to sort of say, okay, you know what, I want to try and get a grip on this. So I tend to find it's really just a question in terms of finding the angle. Like again, like the money thing is a big one for me. If you cook for yourself, like the whole secret to being able to afford living on your own is basically you go to the bathroom out of the house and you save on toilet paper and you eat indoor. You eat in, right? You eat in and you dispose of the byproduct at work or whatever. You hate every part of cooking. It's an issue. So the thing is I do wish I was better at it. So it's actually a little bit like, I was saying with Daylud, in terms of sort of hobbies and challenges, like, because it's one of these things that I'm not very good at, I find it easy to get discouraged, and it's really not the right way for me to think about that, but it is a risk that I run into. Oh, you know what? It just occurred to me, I think I've got something that I can cook. So I don't think I've actually made the fish... Oh, maybe I have. Maybe butter? I don't think the spices would do anything here, but... I don't think I've done poached mackerel. You did make a lovely bowl of eggy porridge for dinner. You're currently trying to see it as an adventure, trying new ingredients. Yeah, so that's the big one for me. Like, this is why I think that On Food and Cooking book is good for me, because it's, like I said, it's sufficiently nerdy that in addition to learning a bit of history and sort of why we've adopted certain conventions in our... you know, in our culinary traditions, or however you want to put it. I think, I don't know, I think there's just enough sort of, I'm interested in this and I want to sort of learn it on my own to make it interesting. I am worried a little bit that it's a bit more advanced than I can handle, but I don't know, I feel like because of the point of interest, it's just enough for me to be able to say, yeah, you know what, this is worth doing. So, all right. So we're done talking with Mr. Kill. We should pick what memory I want to take overnight. I think I'll just take the store memory again. Right, so I'm running out of places to put the flowers. Cuckoo honey. And there we go. The skill is now level 7. Its power aspects have also increased. Forge and Moth are less different than we think. Every change is in some way a release. So I will commit that in a little bit, but we'll go over now. Well, actually... nothing really stopping me from doing that right now. So this, I believe, was going to be one that goes into illumination. So this can go into Ithistry or Illumination. So Ithistry says, from steel, if the sun has failed, then we must manufacture our own second dawn, with eye, with hand, with the light beneath the heart. It won't be easy, but what great work ever is. Ithistry might shape the way. Or from light, even if even the sun's division was a plan, then once we complete that plan, we'll bring the second dawn and unite the sun. It won't be easy, but what great work ever is. Illumination might show the way. So I'm not going to use this metal right now, but... So the next one that I had in mind was Disciplines of the Scar to level 8, which is quite a ways away. Now, it is worth saying, you know, maybe I don't need to worry. Maybe we, you know, maybe we level these things up later. So actually, that might be something worth planning out. I might maybe get a cup of tea. I know it's been a slow start, but... I might take a small break, and then what I might do is kind of take a look at the various books that we have and realistically see what what I can sort of apply to the various skills that I want to level up. So in terms of what I can draw on to level up these various skills, we've got all of these. Now, I can't necessarily read every single one of them. And then we've got these. But it is worth saying, the more I level these things up, the more likely it is that I'm going to be able to make progress with them. And then on top of that, I've kind of ignored the audio. So we've got the Tower Falls. Now that's in VAC, so that doesn't really help. But the Lake Fusino recordings, the Invisible Opera, and Opening the Sky, there's at least the theoretical possibility of me being able to see these. All right, have a lovely evening, Dalude. It's wonderful to see you again as always. And a reminder, because I think I'll take a break myself, this is going to be coming out tomorrow. So I'm sorry for being a little kind of all over the map for today's stream, but I'm also trying to, mostly just today I wanted to try and get as many things as I could set aside so that tomorrow I can focus entirely on House of Light. I don't think it's bad if I mention that I will be streaming this on the Steam page when it comes out. So for those of you that want to see me on Steam, I'm back. Oh, actually, let's unpause for 2 seconds to see the poached mackerel. Poached mackerel. We do not poach fish in Brandkrug without recalling the turbot crisis of 1786, when Dr. Westcott caught a prodigious turbot and required the kitchen to poach him without division, but no vessel of sufficient size could be found to poach it entire. At last they resorted to alchemical assistance. Mackerel, fortunately, requires no alchemy for its poaching. This is a first course. Now I'm curious, did I put pickled pilchard? Yes, I did put pickled pilchards in here, so I'm curious if it's possible to pickle mackerel. Let's give that a quick shot. I can indeed pickle the mackerel. All right, I think that's worth trying, although it'd be nice if I had a replacement. Let's first place the mackerel, though. Can't fit you on the table, huh? Okay. How am I going to make this work? The problem is one of my tables is currently occupied because I plan to host a salon in there. Yeah, and all these other ones. Oh. I can really put that on the chair, huh? Okay, I'll take it. But yeah, it looks like I have another opportunity to mess around a little bit. Okay, so the next little bit, the plan's going to be... So I have a bit of a dilemma as far as this salon is concerned. Because on one hand, there's a lot of... there's a lot that I can do in order to get more elements of the soul, which will help me be a better host, which means I get more memories to work with. But on the other hand, the longer I delay the salon, then the less likely I am to get all of these things done. The less likely I am to kind of get these things, leveled up. So the question is, do I do the salon early knowing that I may have to use more than one core, for instance, or FOST or something like that? Or do I say, well, let's try and get the elements of the soul that I can, level them up, and then use the, I'm actually more inclined to host the salon, if I'm honest. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll make a final decision when I come back, but I'm feeling like it might be better for me just to host, get the memories, and then deal with the consequences as they arise. Oop. So one thing I'm definitely going to do is consider the paper. Actually, I've made my decision. I'm going to get this back. So yeah, I think I'll host a salon just because it's early enough in the day that I can actually make some decisions in terms of what I do with the resulting lessons. I think it's probably more interesting to have more people visit than it is to sit and wait for the perfect salon. So that will be what we do when I come back. I am going to take a minute just to get some tea, just get myself sorted out. It looks like my concern on the laptop has now been handled, so I'm happy enough with that. But I do need a small break just to get myself sorted, and hopefully I'll be a little bit more focused for the rest of the stream. So I will see you all in a little bit. Maybe now is a time to have a small break or stretch for yourselves, but we'll see you in a bit.
Okay, I've lost my audio, but I'm back, and we should be back with the game momentarily. So, as I mentioned before we went on the break, I think I've decided that, and hello, 1-4. I think I've decided that I would like to do the Salon tonight. I'm not fully prepared, but I think it's slightly more interesting to do more Salons than it is to try and build up to a perfect setup. So, oh, sorry, let me try and get my headphones sorted. I think I wound up with too short of a cord on my replacement. So it's starting to fray, I suspect. All right, so let's get the invites out. I don't think we're going to be able to do the Salon right away, but we can get the basics done. And I'd actually like to bring Arthur Moore first, so we'll use the shilling here. Stamp, envelopes. Actually, I do like reading this one. So, patience. Thus the mountain awaits the fall of the snow. Thus Monday awaits the death of the weekend. Thus the postmistress waits for me to purchase the necessary stamp. Stamp, envelope, send. And once again, I've lost my audio. There we go. And we have a gale to work with. The postmistress examines the letter and deems it sufficient. It'll go to the next, with the next post, she assures me. All right, Zachary Wakefield. Stamp, envelope, send. And an offer from Oriflammes. Oriflammes, established 1776, sent signed Sciences. Dear librarian, we would like to offer you this opportunity to purchase the Carmine Petal Unexpurgated. So this is an 18 mystery forge for Disciplines of the Hammer. I think it's worth buying. Oriflammes thanks you for your custom. All right, next up, Connie Lee. Douglas Moore. Carried a memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. This will complete once dawn has come. Actually, I do wonder... There might be something else that I can do tonight, but let's focus on the task at hand. And finally, the invitation to Eason Fekri. Actually, let's use the threepence. Stamp, envelope, send. Alright, did Arthur Moore receive my invitation? Zachary received my invitation. Did Connie receive my invitation? Did Douglas Moore receive my invitation? And did Eason receive my invitation? Nothing's history when it first happens. So we've got our occult scrap back. And I think I have quite a bit of whist, so I can afford to... I can sort of afford to mess around a little bit here. I am going to open up the abandoned luggage in this case. Something rare. Crack open the container. Delight in your discovery. Now again, we may need to wait before we can have the Salon. But I'd like to, where I can, I'd kind of like to get a head start and see what's possible. All right, better now. So I think at this point I'm just going to restore the whist. It is spring and the landlady has served me a slice of her stargazy pie with the pilgard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust.
Alright, Lieutenant Arthur Thomas Moore, retired. Hero, pilgrim, traitor. He'll always be a soldier, but never again can he be only a soldier. So the first thing I want to do with Arthur Moore, the reason why I invited him first, was the business of Abecassis, what happened to Abecassis the Labite. Now, my guess here, I did notice that there wasn't a conclude option here. And I thought that that might possibly be a bug. However, I did report it and there was no real reply, so I'm thinking that this is intentional. Imprisonment? Did Lieutenant Moore deliver Abecassis successfully into the custody of the Labyrinth? I could ask him. The Labyrinth has him, and Echidna is not pleased with me. She had come to see herself as a mother or perhaps a lover. I don't know. I don't like it, but now I'm in trouble. So here we have a oh, this is unexpected. Lesson Echidna's prowlings. I know that the Legion Echidna prowls the empty places. Consider this with the strongest of your coil and chasm, pentiments and precursors, serpents and venoms, or wolf story skills. You'll learn how to invite Echidna to Brandkrug. Interesting. Lieutenant Moore has made Abecassis, the altered Labite, a prisoner of the Labyrinth. Abecassis has been suckling from Echidna, the mother of monsters, and Echidna has been angered by his capture. Resolve Arthur's predicament. Help. Help? Perhaps if you can share work on Coil and Chasm 12, or might know where you can find Darcy Evers' reworking of Deoris. I have an idea. Give Arthur the information he needs, or enable Echidna's revenge by bringing Echidna to meet with Arthur, retiring Arthur permanently. Well, I happen to, even though Arthur's with the Lionsmith, I don't think I can really do that in good conscience. Now, it seems to me like we do have the reworking of Deoris. In fact, I also suspect we probably have a Coil and Chasm 12, but let me see here. I would have thought that it was a contradiction, but... Curious. This is the problem of playing multiple games at once. I'm not 100% sure which of the... Now, I don't imagine this would be a higher level one. However, I can see if we've got a high level Coil and Chasm book. Okay, looks like we may have to wait to help Arthur Moore then. Clearly we have... Oh, here we go. So I think he needed a 12, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so Coil and Chasm 12, or... the reworking of Deoris. Tantra of Worms doesn't help.
Can I confess that I'm a little surprised that we don't have more Coil and Chasm Works? Okay, so I'm gonna double check. I don't think any of my existing yeah, so all my existing shells are in the usual spots. So we've got the Wind's Ruin, we've got Kanishka the Spider's Door, we've got Matthias Amethyst Imago Loss. This one was a bit of a weird one. This was a Horns and Ivories manuscript of my own creation. Gospel of Zacchaeus is a Nock text, so, or well, actually Horns and Ivories is the relevant factor here, but Two Wombs, One Heart, Orchid Transfigurations, Rose and Uriel, Journey to the Grove, Berry Book, Fekri's Herbery, Known Unknown Tantra, Prophecies of the Glory, Stolen Reflections, Alloy of the White Rose, Letters to My Successor, Sunrise Awakenings, Geminiad, Orchid Transfigurations, Traveling at Night, Perugian Diaries, Dirasho Quercum, Wrapped in the Kings, Singlefoot Songs, Erd Rokahas, Asclepiad Mysteries of the Roots of the House, Ambrosial, oh hang on, Ud Rokahas, and Unhatched Hymns, my bad, sorry. Beekeeper's Ends, Damascene Traditions of the House of Leith, Meniscate Supplications, I think? Malachite Supplications, Traveling at Night, Volume 1, Shaven Lock Tantra, Queen's Turn, Deaths of the Moon, The Sea Does Not Regret, Three Flowers Hath the Tree, Matthias Amethyst Imago, Pursuit, Humors of a Gentleman, Kersham Portalon, Scar in the Sky? Yeah. Barrowchild's Elegies. This is Keonet Abydos. I'm trying to remember this one. Codex Acephali. Ivory Book, Lady Ava's Repose, Ava's Treasury. The Amalgam of the Red Rose, I think? Yeah. Iron Book, Bancroft Diaries, War of the Roads, Vincent. I can't remember if it's Minglings or Manuscript. Yeah, Minglings. Journal of Walter de Wolf, In the Mallory. Why can I not remember those indignities perpetrated by the deceitful fraternity of Obliviots? Ascendant? Yeah, the Ascendant. Wainscott Histories, De Bellis Murorum, Victory of Crowns, Snare of the Tree, Collected Proverbs at Mopsy, Moon's Egg, It Is Written, 108, Locksmith's Dream, Volume 2, Portions and Proportions, The Other Line, Nin's Cages, the pop-up book and otherwise, A Second Glory, Carbonic Schism, The White Book of Brittany, The Hissing Key, The World Does Not Weep, I think? Yeah. Introduction to the Histories. Don't remember. From History to Eternity. Oh, I should know this one. Concursum Diaries. Collected Hush House Lectures Against the Sister of the Triple Knot and Their Depraved Customs. Foulness of the Depraved Customs. Republic of Teeth. Orchid Transfigurations 1. To Those Who Do Not Sleep, my bad. What Does Not Bark, Apollo and Marsyas. This one I don't remember. Time of Division, right. Twin Serpent Tantra? Yeah. Traveling at Night, Volume 3, Cardia's Delights, On the Winding Stair, Against Vitruvius. Is it Reflections of Forculus? Raptures of Forculus. Advice on Containment? Yeah. Matters and Deeds of Serpents, Manner in which the Alchemist was spared. Observations on the Peacock Door, Incandescent Tantra, Leonine Tantra, Flayed Tantra, and Velletri Interviews. Skin of Silver, this one I don't remember actually, Tantra of Worms. Sun's Lament, True History of Valentine de Wolf, Black Nephrite, Key of Night, Seven Faces of Icarus, Treaties of Underplaces, Stolen Histories,
12 letters of consequence, just verse, Morphe Codex, Calipsych, supplications, intimations of skin crossing to noon, exercises in the continuity of self, temptations of architecture, 7 shards, glimmerings, radical measure, Chandler's wish, and memory of gods, Carmine Petal revisited. Wait a minute. Oh, cool. Deeds of the Scarred Captain, Red Book of Brittany, Radical Measure glossed, Kukurbit Prisoner Records, Serenity of the Black Wood, Geminiad Volume 3, The Sky, the Soul. We're not going to see Debellus Murorum up here, but Each Flame is Fuel, 26 Enticements, 7 Torments, Opus Magnum Ceruleum, Inam Capinglingpur, Garki Crippus, Manual for Departure, Deaths and Their Evasions, Medusa's Lament, 3 of the 3 Vatican manuscript, Secret Colors, the Enchiridion Trigularis, Book of True Blood, Descent of the Shell, History of Inks, Messenger Awaiting Your Destination, Songs of the Carapace Cross, Origins of the Hours, Nyxabelik, Sevenfold Slaying of the Seven Coil, and The Wound Wounds. So yes, somehow we do not have the book I thought we had. Such is life. So we'll wait for all the guests to arrive. Okay, so who have we invited? We've got Lieutenant Arthur Moore, hero, pilgrim, traitor. He'll always be a soldier, but never again can he be only a soldier. D.I. Douglas Moore, Detective Illuminate of the Suppression Bureau, a stoic but weary fellow. His dearest wish is to move to Chingford to grow roses, but the buggers won't let him retire. Mr. Zachary Wakefield, marksman, detective, renegade. He has always been a quiet man, but since he left the Suppression Bureau, he has grown even quieter and terribly still. He has grown, except for his fingers and for his eyes, always in restless motion. Now, the game did tell us that there would be further developments between him and MCO Constance Lee. Connie has risen swiftly in the Suppression Bureau to the exalted rank of Constable Oculate Minor. Don't get in her way. Now, she is also considering, because of the Hostorium, she's also considering leaving the Bureau, and we've not yet helped her with her decision yet. And then we have Mr. Eason Fekri. Formerly, Eason was a healer. He was not human. He was Secretary Salvant of Hush House, but not all at the same time. Fussy, kind, famously foul to look upon. So we will eventually be gathering here, so a salon in the chapter house, peaceful, with excellent acoustics, although a little drafty. Here one might have 11sies in the morning and afternoon tea later in the day. Neither event should include any intoxicating drinks. Guests take their places for 11sies. Let's make sure that Zachary Wakefield and Connie Lee. So yeah, I think we're ready to. Yeah, I think if I remove any single item. So we are serving orange jumble. They say they should be the size of teacup rims and should curl their crisp edges faintly, pink as the underneath of a young mushroom. Lady Jekyll, kitchen essays. The Blue Crown tea, always served cold, more accurately to say, inevitably served cold. Stargazy pie, we are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Roast potatoes, you really need rosemary for roast potatoes, but fortunately the kitchen garden at Hush House has never been short of rosemary. Ice water, Isle water glass from Brad Krug's Deep Springs. Cater and Hero Second Flush Assam. Tea from the land of the real unicorn, imported by Cater and Hero. Boiled egg, neatly packaged nutrition, pale as a December dawn. A stuffed golden marrow. This marrow was accounted a beauty among its kind. Now it's a dish for those who understand fidelity. And Blue Crown tea, we've already written this here. So, and we do not yet have a Secretary Persistent, so let us begin, 11sies. Ooh, Lignan Vitae Blanc.
Instinct and Emotion, add a Tryst card. Wistful Asides. Stargazy Pie, Eason exclaims. He snaffles a slice. Brandkrug at its best. I've been going to the Sweet Bones for this since, well, longer than I care to remember. The stories the fishermen tell. So we got sea stories for that. Conversation ebbs and flows. Say something witty, add a Shapt card. So this makes me happy that we invested in the Shapt. Better now. So I think I'm going to restore my Whist one more time. Douglas asks Eason if it's true that he used to dig in the ground like a mole, whether he was born or made, whether he's ever et anyone. Eason answers the questions with courtesy, not exactly, not born, and no. Lesson purifications and exaltations. Raise a complex question, add a Whist card. Arthur and Eason discuss Anael Verdier's account of the ascent of the unwise mortal to the heights of the Mansus, perhaps even to the glory, and how he perhaps succeeded when so many others failed. I learnt in my time here, Eason gestures to indicate the house, that it can be as important who witnesses a deed as who performs it. Arthur nods slowly. Lesson Watchman's Paradoxes. Exalted Debates, Conversation Ebbs and Flows, a more sober tone, add a Faust card. Now, we are at the risk now of not being able to meet one of the conditions if we do another Exalted Debate. Arthur speaks of the lightsmithing arts practiced at the Labyrinth of Lions. Eason offers to show Arthur the stained glass windows in the chapel of Hush House after the meal. With your permission, librarian. Lesson Glazier and Lightsmithing. We're on our way to our last event. And looks like we need a more sober tone, so we do not have a Faust that we can add to this one. A shame. So we're close to having everything, but my guests leave happy. You've gained an additional potent memory. Okay, so let's collect everything. So a lively salon. You've held a lively salon. This is a marker to remind you that you can't hold another salon until next season. We've got a satisfaction, an enduring reflection, refine what is, recall what remains. Glazier and Lightsmithing lesson, Watchman's Paradoxes, Purifications and Exaltations, and Sea Stories. So I'm going to want to think about how I can make the most of these. Consider with the strongest of your Coil and Chasm, Pentiments, Precursors, Serpents and Venoms, or Wolf Stories. So I really don't have a high level of any of these. Serpents and Venoms is 2. Coil and Chasm should be 2. Pentiments and Precursors is 2. And Wolf Stories is 2. So I do want to follow up on this, but I think I'm going to wait until I've actually decided on where I'm going to place these things in the Tree of Wisdoms before I follow through on it. So I think probably what I want to do right now is think about how I'm going to use these 4 lessons that I've got from the Salam. And this is just because, again, I've got a bunch of different books that I can read to complement these. But more importantly, I also have the rest of the day. So let's just take a quick look here. So one of the ones I'm going to work on is Disciplines of the Scar. So what's appealing about this is we can use Purifications and Exaltations, Glaciery and Lightsmithing, and Watchman's Paradoxes to that end. And that's prior to anything else. So that's really, we take that up to 5. Sights and Sensations was also going to be one that I worked with. Now, that's actually interesting to me. Let me just see. Surgeries and Exsanguinations. What was I trying to do here? Right. Okay, so it's trying to bring just trying to get Inks of Revelation up to 7 for here, and then Glassblowing and Vessel Crafting to 8. Thing is, Disciplines of the Scar is not a terrible one for me to invest in either. Yeah, you know what? The more I think about it, the more I think I want to level up Disciplines of the Scar. So let's... I think my easy answer here is just to try and generate as many Lantern and Edge memories as I can for the rest of the day. So we're going to start... I feel like I could probably get 2 levels out of this for sure. So we'll start with the Whist. And at this point, it's kind of all hands on deck. So Fear will definitely work here. We'll take Stolen Histories for that. Next up, we will use... well, we've already got Fear, so... Patterns doesn't help. Storms, nope. Intuitions... Let me just double check this, but it's Lantern and Edge, so nothing for Intuitions. Hindsight doesn't help. Confounding Parables doesn't help. Contradictions does, though, so we'll read Victory of Crowns. Oh yes, I will visit the Moor and Crowcross Sands. Hello, Seasent. How you doing? We don't have that much time left, so I'll use the FET in this desk. Okay, so we've got Contradictions on the way. Foresight should give us a Lantern, so that'll work. The Reading Room So regrets doesn't help, gossip doesn't, salt doesn't, impulses doesn't, savage hymns doesn't, earth signs doesn't, no solace, cheerful ditties, revelations will help though. So we'll do sunrise awakenings in this case. Satisfaction doesn't really help me, but I can consider a painting. So let's look at carries. Okay, so this gives me a start, and again, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be taking the Purifications and Exaltations, Glacierian Lightsmithing, and Watchman's Paradoxes. We're going to be using those to level up Disciplines of the Scar as far as we can. Now, the other thing that I have is a Satisfaction, I believe. Well, I guess I can take that overnight with me. We would be able to apply that to the sea stories, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. While I'm at it, I can also place the Carmine Petal in a more appropriate place. Now we're taking that right to the edge, so. Now I'm curious, because this is coming out tomorrow, how many of you are planning on playing the expansion when it first comes out? Carice, a spired city is dimly visible through a vast rolling wave. Signed, Nina Lagasse. So I'm going to hang on to the site for a bit. Definitely going to need to come up with something clever. Actually, I'm going to do some gardening because I don't think I'm going to be able to get everything done. Okay, I can definitely go for some cat's claw. Oh, sure you can, if it's a good game. Alright, what are we looking at here? So, help with letters. I've got more elements of the soul than I know what to do with, so we're going to keep adding to the list. I think it's pretty unlikely I'm going to be able to work with all of these, but we'll do our best. Actually, we don't have that. Yeah, we're okay. The only thing is I'm only really going to be able to add 2 more elements of the soul, so. Another thing that's funny here is with Edict's Marshal, I might actually be able to level that up with the sea stories. So that might be an option I want to consider. Okay, Stolen Histories. The agitator and pamphleteer Alexander Sparrow inveighs against the monstrous serpents, thieves of history. Sparrow acknowledges 5 histories, insists the 3rd history may be overrun by coils, warns the 5th history is already lost. Sparrow, with his usual paranoia, appears to be conflating the horror of the Worm Wars and the Great Writhing with the activities of the Great Hooded Princes. Still, he draws thought-provoking comparisons between the princes, normally conceived as exotic Knocklong, and the widely feared worms. So there's our fear. Moving on, the Victory of Crowns, erratic accounts by Aaron of the hunting and consumption of the supposed immortals by shadowy assassins, published in the late 19th century. The assassins are, according to Aaron, the agents of a power called the Coronel, a soldier of the Secret Masters. The accounts date back to Roman times. Aaron's scholarship is dubious, but she writes pithily. Incidents of sudden and violent death are interspersed with aphorisms. Hours don't dream, long try not to. The Journal of Walter de Wolf. Walter de Wolf, 3rd Baron Brankrug, was grandson of Thomas, son of the disgraced Giles, who eloped with Pale Haffren. The de Wolf line might have ended here if Seneschal Ernestine, by then over 80, had not managed to reconcile Thomas with a dying Giles.
Walter, though nominally siding with the parliamentarians, manages to stay out of the war, but in 1642 his son Brian runs away on the night of his 16th birthday to join the Royalist army. He is captured and returned to his father, who pleads for mercy and gives his parole for his son's good behavior. In 1648, Brian runs away again to join a Royalist uprising. Walter writes of news that Brian has been seen on the field of battle at Gir Camp, but his fate is yet unknown. Walter writes one last entry about his fear for his son and the future of his family. There the journal ends, but an extensive account of Walter's collaboration with the architect Gregory Wheelock includes usefully esoteric information. And Sunrise Awakenings, an uncharacteristically poignant meditation by the edge-long Trog of Merionid, who later came to Hush House under a variety of other names, often in search of some sort of fight. If light were not silent, it would be music. If music were visible, it would be light. Each day's light, Trog suggests, is faintly touched by the light of every past day. So, in the light of every present day, we may begin to understand something of days to come. At least this appears to be his conclusion, but he stops mid-sentence, apparently having lost patience with the act of writing, or possibly having been ambushed. Okay, so we've got 5 lantern or edge memories to work with. We'll be using 2 right now. So again, the first thing we're going to do is level up, and I'll just get this prepped for level 5. Or at least as far as I can. Okay, let's say the contradiction and the revelation are the ones that I'm going to put in here. And we'll employ an Arab for that. So I want to be a little careful on this. So it seems to me like we have enough to be able to bring this up to... Actually, you know what? Maybe I don't need to be as careful on this now that I think of it. Because, so I was just thinking I can bring 2 more... I can bring 2 more memories in. Actually, that's not strictly true. So, I can actually do all 4 again. Yeah, that works perfectly. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay, so contradiction, revelation, fear, and foresight. I can never remember the fear shelf. Here we go. So the reason I can get away with this is because the remaining memories are actually going to be used to level it up the next time. So, Vincent's Minglings. And then we're going to have a whole bunch of shelving to do when the gardening finishes, but I'll worry about that later. Night has fallen, dawn will come soon. Alright, unexpected finds in the folds of earth and sky. So I'm always happy for the wood, and it's not even necessarily because I need it for Mr. Kill. But what is going to be helpful is that I can employ this to making a few other things. So the Hawthorn blank, right, on its own, for knock is not that special. But what it will enable that's gonna take me. That's potentially going to give me something like Pyrrhus Oracle Sinus, and that in turn, of course, will give me the Sacrament Malachite. So, skill is now level 3. Its power aspects have also increased. So let's just bring you up to 4 right away. Fear, Foresight, Sight. We use the Arab. And Purifications and Exaltations. Another fruit plucked from Knowledge's tree. Improve the skill to level 4. Now we may wind up losing the medal for tomorrow, but that's fine. We'll move to the next one. Now another thing that I can do with my Arab and such is I can actually prepare for the next Salon. It's an afternoon spent profitably reading newspapers to the curious, writing affectionate letters for the lonely, steering farmers through the requirements of the Ministry of Agriculture. And in fact, the weather is nice enough that we can either use the Physic Garden. Yeah, actually the Physic Garden would be nice. We'll invite the Kills for sure. Actually, with that in mind, so the Kills, Zachary and Connie, and then 2 other guests, it's really my choice. What I am going to do is I'm going to start moving the food into this area. This is more just so I don't mix up what I'm actually going to use. And then we'll want to move the Roscragen whiskey. I guess we can put that here. Alright, the skill is now level 4. Its power aspects have also increased. So, here we go. De Bellis Murorum, an 18th century epic poem by the pseudonymous Solipstos. The poem elliptically describes a war between beasts, weather phenomena, and arcane concepts. It's quite specific about their tactics. The 2-1 joined and the horn distinguished. Consequently, blood. So, contradiction. Letters to my successor. Advice from Gervinus van Loren, 11th librarian of Hush House, to the one who will come after him. Some of the advice is practical. Don't worry about losing the house key. Always close the seaward windows. Make sure you feed the cockatoo. Much more of it is rarefied, especially about the inks of revelation, and some of it relates to Van Loren's own doom. When I was another, I made a foolish wager with the hooded princes to solve 7 riddles. I had not realized the riddles would be set for me by one I would become. For the one I would become. 6 are resolved. The 7th will be the end of me. It waits now in the cellar of the jail, where Collars still believes I can keep it confined. The first riddle told me I would not see the second dawn. Gather cat's claw carefully. Its mischievous thorns find ways through the thickest gloves. I never remember where I put the flower. Right, I put the flowers in the... Ooh, what am I going to do with this? A little surprised I can't put more than one there, but fair enough.
Vinzant's Minglings. The metallurgist and skysmith Everett Vinzant speaks of the sacred alloys, the alloys eternal, the alloys sufficient, the alloys intendant. Everett describes the voices and powers of mortals and immortals based on their composition by analogy to the sounds and strengths of bells based on the metals of their casting. Vinzant warns that mingling of metals of too great a nobility can produce the alloys incestuous. He suggests very cautiously that the means used by the sovereigns of the Leashed Flame to produce their heirs may have analogous issues. For though the crime of the sky might be circumvented, yet the law remaineth the law in spirit as in spirit as in letter. Okay. So one more, Treatise on the Underplaces. Herein, the 17th century mystic and antiquarian Claude Hersault describes the bounds or underplaces on the borders of Dream. He warns that they shift over time. The walls of the Mansus, Hersault begins, are the size of starlight. Many of his directions are equally unhelpful, but common relationships do emerge. A picturesque account of a journey through nightmare, interspersed with what might be partial rites. On the 18th ascent is the bud, on the 36th ascent, the blossom. Okay, let's just clean up the last. So, beeswax, honey or beeswax. If I'm careful, cuckoo honey, if the Blomberende have been by to visit their infant nobility. More grapes. I think I'm going to set aside the package right now. Okay. That's a good day's work. If we can avoid losing the... Actually, I can also move up disciplines the scar, so we'll move you up to position... Tricky. Okay, so we'll move sharps here. Now it's 4. Now it's 5. So if we can get this done before the sun rises, that's the best day's work. If not, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it'd be nice. So one thing that I'll probably want to dwell on, so let's think about the next salon. I think I said I'd bring the kills. Now, I don't think the kills have a requirement. Okay, I'm just double checking the number of slots that I have. So 2 more. I mean, it's really my call in terms of who I want to invite. Peter Ictistus wouldn't be a bad choice. So let's say Lala Kaima. Actually, let's make it Schaller. Unless the one... Actually, you know what? I should probably work this out right now. Okay, so let's say I do that. Now, hang on. Don't I have Madame Bichet's address? Interesting. All right, well, I'm not going to worry too much about that, but... Okay, so Zachary Wakefield takes winter food and drink. Connie takes... I think she takes Sky, yeah. I think the kills take anything. Edge food and drink for our edgy friend. And Stanislav. Heart. So I'm also going to need to think about generating the ink and such. I'm not quite ready to plan that, but the reason why I'm doing all this work now is it just saves me the trouble. Like, so with my Arab, for instance, if I don't have anything that I want to level up on its own, this will be a nice opportunity for me to. It'll be a nice opportunity for me to just get the. It'll be a chance for me to get the items for the summer salon ready to go. But I think I have other priorities first. So I'm thinking what I might do with the C stories, I might actually level up Edict's Marshal, even though it's not something that I immediately need. The other thing I'll think about is if I've got Disciplines of the Scar up to level 5. All right, so 0.7 away, almost got it. So the skill is now level 5, its power aspects have also increased. So what I'm thinking here is I want Disciplines of the Scar up to level 8. So let's just see. I really need 3. Now, the ideal, of course, would be I take something like the Wound Wounds, but that does invite the question, how exactly do I intend to get that much edge, right? So my highest right now is Edict's Marshal. Well, that or Disciplines of the Scar, so that gets me the 6. I suppose, I mean, I'm at 12 there. Yeah, no, that's too much. Sevenfold Slaying of the Seven Coiled, similar idea here. We'd need to bring a lot more, but Book of True Blood? 7 of 14. I mean, if I used the Princulet, I'd probably be okay, but I think there's a simpler way of handling this. If I go to my sort of overflow, so what I'm really looking for here are anything with like lantern and forge. So for instance, Pyroglyphics, I believe, does have a lantern element as well. So now whether or not I've got a 12 lantern is another question, but so Deeds of the Scarred Captain would be tempting here. So this, again, we'd apply the 6. So if I had a edge... Yeah, none of these are edge, sadly. Okay, well, let's keep going through the overflow. So Carmine Petal,
Now this one feels more promising. So if we take the... So we have 10 here. I need 12. Well, that's really just a question of... that's just really a question of the right memory. So this seems to be the right way to go about it. So what I'm going to do here is take a foresight. So War of the Roads. Okay. So yeah, that's going to be today's goal, to get more points for Disciplines of the Scar. Now, I did say I was also going to be putting points into Edict's Marshals, so let's see whether or not I can even accumulate 6 memories. So, Fear, Tuitions, Confounding Parables, Contradictions... Salt. Interesting. Yeah, Stolen Secrets. So I can definitely put the 6 in. Interesting. Okay, well, I'll set aside the Arab. I think probably it makes sense to bring in Mr. Kill. Mr. Kill can always spare a few hours to help a friend. So the real question here, so let's go for the... There are some easy ones for me to do, like get the contradiction. Guess I'll use the core in this case, so we can also get the confounding parable. So again, I'm trying not to make things that Mr. Kill would potentially already help me with. Read the Sea Does Not Regret. I think this one we can afford to use the Tryst. Right, and then the Stolen Secret was going to be the other helper. But then Stolen Secrets are something that Mr. Kill might give me, so... Okay, I'll settle for that for now. Let's keep going to Crowcross Sands just to see if we can find anything interesting there. I should maybe double check to see if there's anything that I want to do in spring in terms of opening up the various rooms, but I'm actually kind of happy to work on the memories that I have already. Okay, the Sunny Day would probably be more helpful for the Disciplines of the Scar. Spring, and the landlady has served me a slice of her stargazy pie with the pilchard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust. And then the trick here, I am still going to be reading the Carmine Petal. Whether or not I'm able to use that to level up Disciplines of the Scar tonight, I'm not so sure. But we'll work with what we've got. Okay.
The War of the Roads, 1451 to 1551. Willis Ford describes the War of the Roads, an event in a history other than our own, in detail, from its beginnings as a martial philosophical dispute between the dawn and sunset roads of alchemy to a war which ravaged half of Europe. It is now widely believed that the sons and daughters of the Red Rose were forged into immortals. Understandably, they are, after all, now all long dead. The forge itself devoured the greatest among them. Sorry, it is not now widely believed, is the important line there. The royalty of England, according to Willis Ford, became the sovereigns of the Leashed Flame, destroying or transforming their enemies, conquering Europe, establishing grand cathedrals to St. Spark. The alliance with the Forge begins to take its toll. At last, the Bronze King undergoes his great misfortune and great debasement, and is afterwards known as the Copper King. His attempt to cheat the Forge ends badly. The Leashed Flame is released, and the King's heirs are merely mortal sovereigns. So this one we're going to use to read a book right away. We'll get that set up right now. This wasn't the only option I had, but this is my preferred one. So I can master this mystery. The Wainscot Histories, subtitled Stories from Behind the Walls, a miscellany of non-traditional histories, including battles not generally acknowledged and countries which appear on no map, told in a playful, apparently fictional manner. Gore does not mention the Mansus directly, but constant coy metaphorical references to ascending the staircase of years, to the doors of sleep, and to the blue light of dawn suggest he had commerce with the unseen world. It was common in that time to speak of the division of the sun, by which contemporaries understood the eruption of barbarian forces and of their uncouth gods. So there's the contradiction. The Other Line, one of Samuel Savage's more thoughtful works, an allegorical play about the city Clarity, a city that is also a book, and the sentences which inhabit it. The Lord's Proverbial and the Lord's Disquisitional war in the streets of Clarity, while the punctuants get drunk on ink and supply the jokes, though by Savage's usual standards there aren't very many jokes. The final act sees the Lord's Proverbial unsealing the city Clarity's gate to expel the population into the unknown. The formula that they use for the unsealing is a real one. It can be used with knock and preliminal meter to create a gate sign of power. And the sea does not regret Aeson Fecri, one-time Secretary Salvant of the Curia of the Isle, responsible for the Curia's healing efforts, writes of his experiences in Brankrug, and hints at his travels elsewhere. The sea does not regret the tide, Fecri writes, for when the tide is past, it leaves its traces on the sand, which traces are the sea's memory. Fecri is a keen fisherman and speaks glowingly of the fish suppers of Brankrug. He also admits that his enthusiasm for the bounty of the sea has altered him, that before he came to Brankrug he consumed only things found in the earth. I was the greater thereby, but of all of us give up what we were to become what we are. Okay, so we've got a little more progress here. So I think I'm just going to take both Arab in this case and apply it to the Edicts Martial. Well, I guess I only need the one for the Edicts Martial. We'll see what the day brings. I don't think there's anything I can do with my Consider verb to help the Edicts Martial, so we're just going to let that run by for now. I maybe don't want to wait the last hour before the last minute before the day's done, just because I'm going to need more than one. I'm going to want to level up more than one skill, but again, a lot of this depends on what I get out of the various books. So Edicts Martial I'm eventually going to want to take up to level 9. Disciplines the Scar I believe I just want to take up to level 8. But both of them are in line with my overall goals right now. Alright, more wood. I'm not complaining, but it is getting a little hard to decide where to keep these things. I think I'm going to chuck the seashell in this case. Oh yes, actually that's a good one because that does give me some edge to work with. Okay, I don't think the regret's going to help me, but we'll keep it. The loss, on the other hand, is helpful because that gives me an edge, so we've got 4 of the 6 that we'll need for Edict's Marshal. Technically, we don't have anything from Mr. Kill yet either. So in a pinch, I can also use something like the Old Wound, but again, we've got plenty of time left in the day. We also have lots of elements of the soul to be able to level, generate more memories, so I'm not too worried yet. Prosciutto Fist, lovely to see you. Do you know what happens? Well, technically today, based on where I am geographically, but I think the UK is the official time. But for those of you who do not know Prosciutto Fist, absolutely wonderful broadcaster who I believe will be returning to Book of Hours with the release of the House of Light expansion. But is definitely somebody who does more than Book of Hours. I've really enjoyed watching her go through everything from Assassin's Creed to Baldur's Gate, and most recently she's actually been doing some history streams. She did the Demon Core, she did the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire, and I believe we'll be moving on to the Salem Witch Trials before too long. I believe one of her... She was talking in her Discord about it, and I believe her conclusion is tough but fair. So for those of you who would like to hear the argument, I'm kind of hoping it will go on sale tomorrow. This game never seems to go on sale. Actually, it was on sale fairly recently, Sylphea, but I believe the base game will be discounted for the release of House of Light. And I think they're also releasing an anthology edition. So I think in addition to the discount for the base game, I think you get a small discount for the House of Light DLC as well with the anthology edition. But yeah, again, no promises. It's obviously up to Weather Factory, but I believe when they release new DLC, they've put the game on. You just finished your Vlad Dracula stream. Now you got to heat up chicken pot pie. Oh, were you doing the Dracula stream tonight? Anyways, all right. So another wonderful reason to watch Prosciutto Fist. Dracula does appear in Cultist Simulator, but not Book of Hours, as far as I can tell. I'm really bad at missing your history streams, bro. I'm sorry. Okay, the gossip's really not helping me here, but now is actually the time I should probably be making some decisions. So I need the 6 for Edict's Marshal. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'll go for a Fear and... Actually, no, you know what? I'll get the Stolen Secret and Intuition, just because those feel like the 2 slightly more scarce ones. Cool. Okay. We'll do Orchid Transfigurations. Alright, the Carmine Petal Revised, an apparently theoretical project proposed by Lionel of the Society of the Noble Endeavor, which might permit the imprisonment of a renegade forge name
a very heavily revised edition of an earlier and even more controversial work. The book was evidently revised sometime after the Wars of the Roads had ended, but even then, this kind of discussion would have been politically difficult. Lionel suggests that the disciplines of Scar and Hammer together would be necessary to create such a prison, but that either on its own would serve to release the occupant. Interesting. So this gives us a foresight, which I think we already had. So we'll add that to the foresight collection here. But notice what it said here, right? That Forge or Scar would be sufficient to unlock a prison. So we'd have to add a soul card in this case. We'll use the arrow. So unveil a treasure of the house. Name the scars in iron and night to unveil a treasure of the house. Or hammer time. Align the surfaces of fire and air to unveil a treasure of the house. Well, we are putting disciplines of the scar higher, so aim the scars of iron and night to unveil a treasure of the house. Another viper egg, serpent in waiting. I think I'm not going to throw it away right now, but I don't think I want a fourth. It's just because I can't turn them into anything else. And another package. I actually forgot to open the last one, so I'm gonna hold off on doing any more exploration. I think I need a clearer idea in terms of how I'm gonna handle the rest of the day. Okay, more foresight. Better now. I could offer help with correspondence and arithmetic. There's no school in Brandkrug and not everyone here knows their letters. The account of Kanishk at the Spider's Door. Loch Cowley, Kanishk's victim and lover, wrote this account, possibly posthumously. Kanishk sought to become a name. In pursuit of that end, he made Loch Cowley the vessel of his appetites, promising Loch that they would ascend together. At the Spider's Door, he betrayed his lover. The Chiliarch listened to it happen, and then forbade Kanishk into his service. And then forced Kanishk into his service. The Chiliarch cannot be denied. Loch Cowley remained to write this work and to describe the outer magics of struggle and conquest. So there's the stolen secret. And finally, the Orchid Transfigurations of Feast, a compilation of quasi-Rosicrucian allegories, supposedly by Robert Flood. This is in the original Latin. So here's the intuition. You just know, you know. The illustrations are certainly striking. They flush the skin and glow beneath the eyelids after the book is closed. We must devour to be we must devour to be devoured. We cannot be undevoured as we cannot be unborn. All right. And Revelation. So that'll be helpful with the... So I think I should want to try and get Disciplines of the Scar up another level. The fact that we've got the Sunny Day to help us out is kind of enough to push me in that direction. But let's get the Edicts Martial taken care of first, because we have kind of our ducks in a row there. So I'll start with the Tryst, Sea Stories, Contradiction, Parable, Salt, Loss, Stolen Secret, and Intuition. When I thought I'd understood, I'd only begun. Improve the skill to level 7. Now let's think about how I'm going to get Disciplines of the Scar leveled up. So this one, we're currently using it to unlock the Oubliette. Name the scars in iron and night to unveil a treasure of the house. Right now, I just need 5 memories. Now that's not that hard for me to get
to get together. And then, so I'll use the Arab to level it up. So the first thing I'll do is throw away the serpent egg. So that's one. Now the ideal, of course, would be for me to get the 5 and the 6 up, but I just don't think I have enough to get that taken care of. So we've got 1 of 5. I need 4 more. So 2, 3. Actually, if I do 2 and 4 like this, I can use the health to do some gardening. Actually, hang on. Okay, so if I do each of these, that's 4, 5. Okay, so this will get me the 5. So then the sunny day, the loss, I'm 1 short. I think I can still make it though. So, okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try and get every element of the soul that I can working on this. So basically every lantern and edge that I can generate, I want to generate now. So 7 Faces of Icarus, I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. Let's do... Yeah, those don't help. We can read the Ascendant, though. Okay, Foresight does help, although I think we already have... Oh, yes, of course. All right. We're better off than I thought I was, actually. Savage Hymns, Earth Signs, Solace... The Aloe, the White Rose. I think that's it, because Satisfaction doesn't really help me here. I can also use the Sight, but I do actually need to use an element of the soul for that. So let's see what the day brings. I feel like I'm running short. But I think I'm actually going to be able to use both Disciplines of the Hammer tonight. Here, impossibly preserved, enfolded in the scars inflicted by the former prisoner's energies. So there is another secret of the house, treasure of the house. The Oubliette ASMR. No, it's a fan favorite. Okay, I'm gonna... I think what I'm gonna do here actually is restore the Whist as a precaution. Okay, Hindsight doesn't do that much for me. Revelation does, however. So I actually think that's a little bit of duplicated effort, but we'll make do. Okay, so one thing I want to get done. Unfortunately, we're going to be just shy of what we need. Hang on. I need 2 more memories, so I could use the old wound. I don't really want to give up the Wormwood Dream, though. You know what? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I feel a little nervous doing this, but I think this will work out, so... Let me just make sure that there isn't anything else. Yeah, okay. I'll live with sacrificing the old wound. So for that, we're going to use the Arab. And one thing that I can do right now is generate a replacement old wound with the Edicts Martial. So in terms of what's coming up, we're getting a... Oh, shoot. Okay, Alloy of the White Rose would be... boy, okay. I think I've got to fear a... Contradiction... and Revelation. Okay, fear, contradiction, revelation. If we apply Whist, we can use Foresight. I'm just doing the inventory again. Pattern storms, intuitions, hindsight, confounding parables, contradictions already, it's on its way, foresight we're just got, regrets, gossip, salt impulses, savage hymns, earth signs, solace, cheerful ditties, revelations we're working on, satisfaction, and then secret histories and beguiling, or sorry, stolen secrets and beguiling melodies don't help me. So I think that is as far as I can go. The only other thing that I'll do is I will consider one of the paintings. Oh, hang on. And then we also chuck something we don't need. I think the sand is a perfect candidate here. And then we may get something from Mr. Kill as well. Alright, when something is given to the sea, it rarely returns, though of course I did. Okay, that's convenient, although we'll still replace it. Memory Foresight, Wits Forge and Fire Blast, Meanings Press and Screw, Coleridge on Donne's Poetry. Level 6 Disciplines of the Scar, so we'll use the Shaft. We'll look at the Portrait of a Behatted Lady. The more prominent the headgear, the closer to the glory. Here we've got the Alloy of the White Rose, an account by Mistress Whiteflower of the alchemical techniques favored by the House of York, also identified with the Dawn Road. These techniques failed to bring them victory in the War of the Roads, but they are not to be discounted. The author asserts proudly that the Dawn Road ends in the Second Dawn, and hints darkly that the downfall of the House of York was Grail sabotage. Mistress Whiteflower urges a history of Uzalt, where the Second Dawn may come to pass. She identifies xanthotic essence as Uzalt's predecessor. She explains that with sufficient lantern, bitter black salts can be purified to xanthotic essence, and iotic essence can be exalted to xanthotic essence.
So there's our revelation. So 3 of the 6 that we need. Seven Faces of Icarus. In the early 1530s, the last abbot of St. Brendan's, called Roaring Richard, set down his conversations with the illiterate local cunning man, Red William. Red William describes the 7 forms in which he goes about and under the world: viper, cat, fox, eagle, dove, boar, and crow. Abbot Richard ingeniously fits all of these into a framework of solar belief. According to Abbot Richard, each of Red William's forms is closer to the sun and is increasingly winged with virtue. Richard draws an analogy with the waxen wings of Icarus. Hypocrisy and false virtue will melt before the sun's heat, and so sincerity and untrammeled expression of the self are the utmost piety. It's worth noting that only a year or 2 after Richard wrote this book, John Tregonwell was so appalled by the debaucheries of the monks of St. Brendan's that he recommended the monastery's immediate dissolution. So there's our fear. So 4 of the required 6. The Ascendant, the edgelord Dardesh, boasts of her victories over her brother enemy Tareg in the days of the Shadowless Empire. Sweeter than wine, than nectar, is the blood of my brother. We have raised up armies one against another. We have sated the Blackbone with the sinking of our ships. Dardash's boasting at length turns melancholy. An edgelong is half a dyad. She may not defeat her hated brother enemy without ending herself. She doesn't even want to, but she is aware, to her frustration, that she is a piece on the board, an axle on the ox cart, an essential part of the eternal engine of contention which the Lionsmith and Colonel use to sustain the world. Hello, Oswin Meow. Actually, I'm really glad that you came by at the time that you did, because I unlocked a treasure of the house, so we have the benefit of having it without spoiling its location. Okay, so I just need one more memory. We're going to be getting that from the lantern. Suppose I need to figure out what I'm doing with the shaft. I think I'm probably just going to have to accept that I'm not going to use it today. But for those of you who like Book of Hours, definitely check out, in addition to Prosciutto Fist, definitely check out Oswin Meow, who has played the game recently. I will actually just mention, I hope this isn't putting her on the spot, but someone who felt a bit uncertain in terms of streaming Book of Hours, just because of maybe, I don't want to say confusion with the game, but sort of the uncertainty in terms of the, of sort of covering it. But I actually have really enjoyed hanging out with Oswin, particularly because she really seems to enjoy exploring the house and looking at all of the individual items. So every once in a while, I'm going to feel a certain degree of pressure to just get certain tasks done, or to sort of make a certain amount of progress, like do a salon or something like that. And I think one of the things that's really nice about watching Oswin play, especially because it's sort of a first run through Book of Hours, is that it's someone who really is purely enjoying the game, without any real regard for sorry, I don't want to, this can sound backhanded and I don't mean it this way, but like without worrying about what's playing well on stream. Like that is one challenge that I run into, is that I sometimes can feel the need to rush through things, when in fact it's better to take your time, because that is the nature of this game. Yes, no, and that's one thing it's actually the thing that annoys me the most, is when people want to come in and try to say how to play quote unquote correctly, because like, for heaven's sake, this is a game to be savored, right? Like you don't get to keep the Spintria after you finish the game. So but yeah, so I think one of the things that's nice to say, there's all of the people who I talk about who have played Book of Hours are absolutely worth watching, but I definitely think most recently Oswin is someone who I really feel has kind of captured what it felt like for me to play the game, still feels like for me to play the game. And so again, I don't want to play too many favorites, but definitely, I think if nothing else, because there was that degree of uncertainty, I wanted to take that effort to actually say that Oswin is definitely somebody worth watching, particularly if you want to have an idea of what the game looks like when you don't know all of the steps to take. I now have more than one victory in this game, so I feel quite comfortable with it. Even with the House of Light material, I feel quite comfortable. So it is sometimes nice to see somebody play the game for the first time. I don't want to play favorites, but they are my favorite. All right, Portrait of a Behatted Lady. The more prominent the headgear, the closer to the glory. The headgear is, without doubt, impressively prominent. Sight. The eyes see more than the heart knows. Lake. Mr. Kill, dead men don't tell no bloody tales. Well, who'd listen? So we definitely have what we need for the end of the day. Now, I've always liked this book, even back in the Cultist Simulator days. So, Bancroft Diaries. Lord Franklin Bancroft was initiated into the arts of the flower maker by the Rose Witch Fiona Ayrshire. He rose to become a society provider of occult services and secret pleasures before his abrupt disappearance in 1790. Bancroft seems to have been a talented adept, but devoted his energies to frustratingly whimsical projects, arranging grape-fetching races between Mansis spirits, teaching percussagants to juggle, and conjuring storms of imaginary blossoms for the Rose Witch Ayrshire, who resolutely refused ever to couple with him. Bancroft spends 20 pages bemoaning this last. The mantra here recorded is a high and exacting magic which can be used to pledge one's spirit to the Watchman, beginning an ascent to the house. Bancroft boasts of his ability to recite it when in his cups. He also had it set to music for a performance with fireworks at Vauxhall Gardens. I like to think that this is kind of like what it's like to read my blog. Move gingerly while the pain lasts. The wound is visible, the pain is not. Better now. Yeah, so it's too late for me to use the whist, so we're just going to accept that I don't have much to do at the Sweet Bones. But let's get Disciplines of the Scar leveled up. So, Loss, Fear, Revelation, Foresight, Contradiction, Sight, Disciplines of the Hammer, Faust. When I thought I'd understood, I'd only begun. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how things have gone. Now I'm going to need at least one more edge or lantern lesson. Pretty sure I don't have that. Alright, I guess we're going to use 7 shards. The skill is now level 7, its power aspects have also increased. So the real question here is, how do I get this? Well, no, I know how to get this, I just used the old wound. So yeah, I think we will read 7 shards for the next one. Now, I have reached the 3 hours. There's a few very good people who have just arrived here, Oswin Meow and Prosciutto Fist, but here's my question to you. Will people feel hard done by if we end here? Do you want me to do another day? The main plan would be to read 7 shards, or we can save it. I don't know if I will be streaming on Friday, because I may actually be doing Book of Hours on the GOG channel, but assuming that I'm not, then I would do Book of Hours. And of course, one of the reasons why I'd kind of like to wrap up, do another day if you're not tired. No, I can do another day. I do want to be a little conscious of the hour, just because I am going to be doing a big long stream on the Steam page tomorrow. But another day shouldn't take that long, and I do get to start later tomorrow, so I've already got like I usually do like a grocery shop before I do one of those long streams, just to make sure that I have like fruit, and just basically like the one thing I don't want to do is just pound Red Bulls the whole day, because that'll just cause me to crash. But yeah, I can do another day for sure. Okay, so let's work out the day's plan. So number one, I do want to read 7 shards. So let's see if we can do this. I think between Edicts Martial and Disciplines of the Scar, I shouldn't actually need to get a bonus memory. So we'll use Arab in this case. We will bring in the Disciplines of the Scar. And then I want the Cucurbit Barrette or the Saw. I guess if it's 7 shards, we can bring the Saw. Eternally useful, though not for most librarians most of the time. So I believe in this case 7 shards is going to give me 2 memories. So in this case I'll use 1 for Disciplines of the Scar, and then I'll use 1 for Edicts Martial. So I can master this mystery, enough edge to match mystery edge. I have a few tasks that I'm going to do. So number 1, I'm going to bring in Mr. Kill. Mr. Kill always enjoys a chance to catch up with me. If you don't choose a topic, Mr. Kill will offer help as a friend. So I think I'm going to get all of the basics done. So we're going to start by taking a look at painting. We'll just kind of get whatever lantern things we know Mr. Kill won't give me on its own. So we'll do the sacrifice. And then next we're just going to read, or we're going to use whatever desks I can to get the relevant memories. So again, from top to bottom, fear is something Mr. Kill can give me. Patterns don't help, storms don't, intuitions don't, hindsight doesn't, confounding parables don't. We will read those indignities perpetrated by the deceitful fraternity of Obliviots. For Natan's desk, the trick here is that I don't think there are a lot of memories that I can make that Mr. Kill wouldn't potentially generate already. I think I've actually exhausted my options here. So I think what I'll do as an aside, I'm going to talk with Mr. Kill and we'll generate whatever memories we can, but once we're near the end of finishing 7 shards, maybe in the final minute I'll take the opportunity to generate whatever memories Mr. Kill hasn't given me. I'm also going to do some beachcombing because I figure we can drop something off at the beach. And we'll get a free edge. And if I'm lucky, we get another sunny day. I am not lucky. Rain. Soft rain brings life. Mr. Kill can always spare a few hours to help a friend. So we will restore the whist. It is spring and the landlady has served me a slice of her stargazy pie, with the pilchard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust. Mr. Kill, Ryan Spry, doesn't mind stopping for a gossip. Just give me 1 second while we do that. Alright, a sacrifice. A silent crowd watches a robed priest drown a struggling victim in a bowl of rainbowed oil. Signed, C.I. So, this is the first of the 7 that I'm going to need. Dead men don't tell no bloody tales. Well, who'd listen? So the gossip doesn't really help me, but we'll keep going. It's going to be a little idle while we sort this all out. Alright, so now's really the time I should actually be trying to get more memories. I think I'm actually gonna wait until this book is done. Wasn't quite how I planned on doing it, but I just think we haven't really given Mr. Kill enough time.
Those indignities perpetrated by the deceitful fraternity of Obliviots. It's not clear whether CROD, who is identified only by his initials, was in fact an initiate of the Obliviate Order of Immortal Adepts. He wrote in the 16th century, after the order, if he is to be believed, had passed the height of its power. 58. That they did claim inheritance of the traditions of the House of Leith, but that they have disregarded its most sacred and most beautiful ceremonies where they are not found convenient. 59. 71. The Glassfinger toxin is no mere assassin's convenience for the Oblividiots to confine to the disposal of their enemies. It has higher uses. Certainly it is a great matter of winter, but I have already outlined the technique by which it may be fitted for its ultimate destiny. Should probably be working on these packages, but I'm going to be patient. Better now. All right. Let's make some money. I could offer help with our correspondence and arithmetic. There's no Squirrel and Brandkrug, and not everyone here knows their letters. Okay, an impulse doesn't do that much for me, but again, we'll keep going. There's two sets of things that I want. One, I want Edge and Lantern for Disciplines of the Scar, but then I want Edge and Moon for Edicts Martial. But again, the Disciplines of the Scar is the higher priority right now. Actually, we're going to move both of these. Move Edicts Martial up here, and then... This is just planning for the future. Okay, so the Quartz chunk is definitely something I'm going to chuck. If I cast an object into the sea, it will be lost, perhaps irretrievably. And the driftwood fragment, on the other hand, is something I can use. Maybe not right away. I am running out of space for this. Not enough room in these spots. We'll drop it off at the bridge for now. I think I'm going to risk another walk on the moor. I do need to make sure that I have enough elements of the soul to be... Actually, we can... Yeah, no, we'll be fine. Alright, where do I want to put you? I'm hoping that's temporary. Okay, the intuition might be something that I can use to level up Edicts Martial. Again, that's a secondary concern. When something is given to the sea, it rarely returns, although of course I did. Okay, 7 shards. The Lionsmith, one of the 2 great hours of struggle, broke his sword into 7 shards. Natalia Brulot, 5th librarian of Hush House, describes the nature of each of those shards, allegorically and otherwise. The 3rd shard, then, has been identified with the Cry of Pain. The Lionsmith is a stoic hour, but we must assume that in the sundering moment, even he might have been unable to restrain his distress. Now, the sound of tin under pressure we call the Tin Cry, a reason perhaps for the further identification of the 3rd shard as the Shard Royal. The 7th shard we shall call informally the Invincible Audacity, which is struck from the winning move as the winning move is struck from a memory with the application of sufficient edge, which of course is telling me a recipe. And we have Hindsight for that. So again, not immediately useful to me here, but we can at least add this to the Hindsight list, which is probably getting a bit full. Yep, we need to find a new shelf for... Actually, we're out of space for these. So... here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start moving these. I'm going to consolidate these books because these are 3 shelves that I'm currently taking up. Well, shoot. I mean, I'm going to have to move all this if I wind up with another hindsight book anyway, but... so I guess what I'll do is I'll move the Sky, the Soul up here. Alright, so that buys me a bit of time. So, we've got sight, contradiction, memory loss. We will use the Arab. So I guess this is the point where I bring in whatever. So we'll start with fear. The Leonine Tantra seems like a good place to start with that. So this was the fear shelf here. Patterns don't do anything. Storms don't help me. Intuitions and confounding parables don't. We've already got the contradiction. We've got foresight we can use. So for that one, we will read the Iron Book, which I need Fusine for. Okay, so that's 5 of the 7 that I need. Revelations next. That's 6 of the 7, and then we'll use the Old Wound, I suppose, for the last one. I can also prep for the next round, so we will... Oops. We'll use... the moon stuff for the Edicts Martial, so that means I can bring in a confounding parable right away. As far as the rest of the moon is concerned, I think everything else winds up being something that Mr. Kill can potentially generate for us, or we're going to otherwise use in other contexts. So I'm going to... Yeah, I'm just going to sit on these for a bit. Okay, we're going to keep restoring the Wisp just because I can recover some of that money I spent already. Gossip doesn't really do anything for me right now, but it doesn't cost a whole lot to get Mr. Kill, and he potentially can be a useful source of memories. Once we use the old Wound, I'll use Edicts Martial to generate another one. And again, we'll just cycle through the books to get the things I think are relevant. Right now, we're using Mr. Kill just to see how many elements of the soul I can save. And then once we have a clear idea in terms of what it's going to take to get Edicts Martial up, I'm happy to Oh, there we go. The foresight's gonna be a duplicate, but... But yeah, this is really just a chance for me to see what else I can do in the last few minutes of the day. If I get a chance to do some gardening, so much the better. Okay. The Iron Book, a manual of the Order Lamea, an order of quasi-immortals who maintained a secret enclave at the source of the river Limia in the Roman province of Hispania Gallicaea. This manual was compiled by one Malari Yivni, who claims to have traveled to join the Ordo from the crossroads of the waters. Members of the Ordo took an oath, the Iron Chain, that required them to remain hidden from the world. This manual includes presumably long obsolete addresses and passphrases that could have been used to find the Order's contact in the town of Iria. The final part of the manual describes the punishments for Ordo members who break their oath of secrecy. This includes an invocation used to summon the spirit called King Crucible as an agent of vengeance. Yivni cautions that this must be a last resort when the Oathbreaker would otherwise go unpunished. Summoning King Crucible might draw the personal attention of the Forge of Days. A marginal note suggests, in any case, that King Crucible, in a most transcendent sulk of sulks, no longer leaves the Mansus. The Locksmith's Dream, Portions and Proportions, the second volume of Teresa Galmier's examination of the parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans. The frontispiece has been slashed with a razor. In this volume, Galmier records fewer dreams and explicates more on her own elaborate theories. We see this again and again. What is below can't escape what is above. The finest artisans all dream of the white door in the end. I'm no artisan, only a scholar. I think there's a secret that all these artisans know, but I think that secret is only half the story. So the confounding parable isn't something that we use right now, but it is something that we will use with the Edicts Martial. We have The Locksmith's Dream, Stolen Reflections, the fourth volume of Teresa Galmier's expansive work, no longer a discussion of the dreams of artisans, but a valuable survey of other works. The tone is calmer than that of Trespasses, but occasionally fearful, even paranoid. This volume was published in 1926, but almost immediately recalled and pulped by the publisher at the request of the author, or possibly the authorities, depending on which story you believe. A few copies survive. Janus is the gatekeeper, the twin god, the god that wounds, the presager of changes, the sun, the moon. So we identify him with the watchman, the twins, with the mother, with the forge, with the meniscate, and the madrigad. He cannot be all these, can he? The Flamines knew the church, knew dry land, knew Elagabalus. Is he then synthesis, or is he something else? In Gallicaea they call him Aeneas Lamius, but the Obliviots are notorious for their slanders. Janus has, they say, not one face, but two, to which I reply, why only one? Why only two? Hersault and Coseley, according to Thomas Love Denman, once agreed that Janus was all the gods and none, but later Hersault described him as all the gods, and Coseley favored none. Denman was a sinister dilettante, but this rings true of them both. Revelation, some truths come to us from outside or above. And finally, the Leonine Tantra. In the most notorious translation of the Leonine Tantra, Ashley Phillips is listed as the translator, but their existence is explicitly denied in the prologue. This confusion is characteristic of books which mention the Great Hooded Princes. The Tantra describes elliptically the Great Hooded Princes and the multitudinous ways in which they influenced wars against foreign invaders of the land of the Great River, although, in a sense, they were also invaders. Lions can be created, not as children are created, nor as words are created, but as weapons are created. The Great Hooded Princes learnt to create lions from their spyings on the affairs of the hours, and not all lions now serve the Golden General. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Old wound is 7. So let's get this leveled up. What am I missing here? Right, the old wound. At last, I approach mastery. Improve the skill to level 8. Alright, so first things first, let's get our old wound back. So, Old wound. Explore an old wound to awaken the violent resonances within. So next up, I'm going to want to level up the Edict's Marshal. So one thing I'll want... Actually, no, I wouldn't use the sight. So we're just going to use a good old-fashioned reading again. And in this case, I'm not too worried about duplicating anything from Mr. Kill because we're basically at the end of the day. So we'll use the Fear. I have not yet read the Key of Night. Not so sure. No, we can use Shapt actually. Foresight doesn't help me, so we've got... Oh yeah, actually I should work out exactly what helps here. So we've got 2 of the 7. 3 of the 7. Intuition we already have. Confounding Parable we already have. We can get another one of these. So we're back to Victory of the Crowns. So sorry, that's 5 of 8. Deaths of the Moon helps. That should be 6. So Stolen Secrets should give me 7. And the Old Wound will give me 8. So I should be able to get some gardening done as well. So we'll go to the Beehive. Would be nice to get the Old Wound back, but that I won't make that a major priority. Definitely get more grapes. And we'll do 1 Moth Orchid, 1 Cat's Claw. Right now the shop's just kind of hanging out. Oh, you know what? I don't even need to give up the occult scrap because I can throw away this egg. Or the sea glass. Better now. Alright, at this point we can just make some money at the Sweet Bones. I'm not too worried about the rest. Okay, memory loss, so that's 3 of the 7 that I require. Okay, to master the boundaries through their determination. The scar marks wisdom and regrets. One is often born of the other. So we'll actually commit this to the Tree of Wisdoms before too long. I think we can do that now, actually. Let me just take a quick look here. Yep. So we're going to apply that to Illumination. So we actually have 2 options here. So this can go to Illumination or Hushery. So the crime, the Mansus is the fortress and dream raised by the gods who were stone. Nowhere is the inevitable scar beneath it. Monstrous, the gods from nowhere, but cruel, the gods who were stone.
Or the Scar. The Mansus is the fortress of Dream where the true hours rule, and Nowhere is the scar beneath it where the Nowhere hours lair. Without the hours above, the scar would be an open wound, so the bright arts teach us. And this gives me the rather important extra Faust, so if we had this during the Salon, we would have actually done better. But obviously we didn't have that at the time, so. To master boundaries through their determination, the scar marks wisdom and regrets. One is often born of the other. And what do we get? Okay, Storm doesn't give me that much. A few more seconds before we have the memories that we need. So this would be the time where I start thinking about the remaining books that I read, although in this case we pretty much know what I'm doing. The Key of Night, the deliberations leading to a manifesto of the Worms of Escale as recorded around 1900 in the bar Vienna in the cellar of the Hotel Ciervo in Noon. The Worms, all of whom use a grandiose nom de guerre like Citizen Knife and the Midnight Pilgrim, agree that all previous iterations of their movement have been feckless and treacherous, and agree that the return of the pre-human hours, the gods from stone, is the true way to end the tyranny of eternity. The Worms identify the Wheel, the Tide, the Flint, Sulochana, the Spider Door, the Excellency Nathobasis, and Wickle Indistinguishable as the 7 necessary pentiments that must be returned to every history through the propaganda of the deed. This is an eccentric list and clearly a compromise. The process of thrashing it out clearly exhausts all the participants who don't specify the necessary deed beyond a vague reference to the loopholes. The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. The Victory of Crowns, erratic accounts by Aaron of the hunting and consumption of supposed immortals by shadowy assassins, published in the late 19th century. The assassins are, according to Aaron, the agents of a power called the Coronel, a soldier of the secret masters. The accounts date back to Roman times. Aaron's scholarship is dubious, but she, writes pithily. Incidents of sudden and violent death are interspersed with aphorisms. Ours don't dream, long try not to. On Matthias and the Amethyst Imago, Loss, an account of an occult romance. A certain Para, son of Aaron, claims to have written this in a single night as part of his initiation into the Damascene branch of the House of Leith, that order of immortals who rejected their past and future. The laws of the house forbade Matthias to love. The customs of the wood forbade the Imago to remain. So he conjured her a final time. When she had uncovered the shears of Alcapura, and she suffered him to cut the wings from her back, so that she might remain, and he suffered her to cut the parts which hold man's seed, to keep them from the detestable act. This was love in all its blood and joy. We have cast out Matthias from the house. In the cradle of the roots, Matthias and the Imago left their names, and though their names were lost, they found their name-day riddles. This we recall in solution and separation, so that in the presence of the moth our memories may become our futures. Do this wisely, in memory of the name and the long who gave up their past, that they might be together forgotten. A stolen secret, something I overheard in dreams. The Deaths of the Moon, a historical tract on various forms of survival after death. When the heart no longer beats, the grail may keep the spirit in the body, and an appetite is indicated to sustain. Alukites are the best known, but not the only of this nature. This is the waning moon mode. The full moon mode is the intensification of one element of the soul to the point where ordinary sustention is unstable. Our protector, the generous of hosts, began of this nature, and its generosity remains ungentle. It is possible for the body's health or the heart's core to outpace the other elements, so that a static mode becomes impossible and growth proceeds in dramatic stages until balance remanifests. This gives us salt, sea spray, depth sorrow. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what we needed. Move gingerly while the pain lasts. And here we're moving Edict's Martial up to level 8, so we grab that. At last I approach mastery. Okay, so I've got a spare Faust and a Shap. The Faust, of course, came from... my commitment. But what do I want to do with the Shaft? So the ideal here would be that I try and get some memory that's going to be relevant for the next day. Now, if I wanted, I suppose we would try and get the Edicts Martial to the top level. So as a let's take that as a hypothetical. Oh, crumbs. I forgot what the 7 shards... okay. 12 letters in consequence. If this is putrefactions and calcinations. Okay, that is a moon, so this is the one I would want to read. So basically what's happening here is I'm getting a single memory which would be relevant to Edicts Martial, at which point I would then use that to level it up to 9, and then we've got my illuminations taken care of. In fact, if I wasn't streaming the game tomorrow, I would probably go for another day to accomplish that, but... So I suppose at this point we would say, all right, so I've got a lantern, rose, sky, and heart to work with. My ideal would be something... Oh yeah, no, I've got an answer here. So we'll use the Shaft with a confounding parable, and we can just take that over into the next day. So we'll read 108. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. All right, well, Stolen Secret's nice, but we don't really need it. An afternoon spent profitably reading newspapers to the curious, writing affectionate letters for the lonely, steering the farmers through the requirements of the Ministry of Agriculture. And again, we've got the spare, so we'll help with the letters one more time. So yeah, we're actually in pretty good shape. So essentially what will happen tomorrow in-game, I'm going to read the 12 letters on consequence. That's going to get me the memory that I need. And from there, I'm just going to get the 8 memories that I need to get the Edicts Martial up to level 9. And then with level 9, we max out Illumination. And I can redirect my attention back towards Nyctodromi so that I can get, I can start moving up those ranks. Okay, so we're gonna have to add you to this. I'm curious if I can get away with that on the Moth Orchid. I'm thinking no, but let's not. Yeah, what a big surprise. All right, can I fit you on any of the... Now, I'm really surprised that I wasn't able to fit it here. Okay. Where else might I put you? I don't think there's any more room in the Cucurbit. Okay, more beeswax. I should probably start making some candles at some point, but... Always happy for another bunch of grapes, but again, we're back at this. We're back to this problem of just having too many things in the area. I wonder, can I fit you on the? Yes, I can. So I wanted to stock up on grapes a bit, just because the cold pheasant. That was something I wanted but couldn't make. So, skill is now level 8. Its power aspects have also increased. So Edicts Martial is definitely, it's a very unique skill, and it's one that gives me, it definitely has some nice bonuses. So this is one that I kind of wanted to prioritize to a higher level. Doesn't always work out that way, but in this case, I figured for Illumination this wasn't a bad candidate. I have not worked out the rest of the branches, but our main focus is going to be to try and unlock Skolakosophy through Nyctodromy, and then from there we'll try and sort of divvy up the skills as appropriate. All right, 108. Ava de Wolf discourses on the fifth history, and particularly on those who are said to have passed over from it. The Great Hooded Princes, the Knocklong, who ascended under the Mother of Ants, but now, so Ava claims, honor the Horned Axe. The Great Hooded Princes call their library the Tomb of Lies, and this has given rise to a foolish tradition that the princes are habitual liars. Of course, in fact, truth flourishes when lies are slain. On the other hand, the princes do not say knowledge is power, but rather power is knowledge. Ava has, to her regret, never visited the library. She notes that it is said to be west of the Lion and north of Victory, and suggests that though the princes are generally associated with India, their library might be further east. So the reason why we read this one is so that I can rest on the confounding parable in my in the librarian's quarters. Librarians are prone to backache, and the mattress has always been a hard one, even in Westcott's time. Now that night has fallen, I can rest and perhaps dream on the day's doings. So normally I would be bringing over a memory that basically something that would let me read the next book, but because the next book is just a 4-moon mystery, I've got several skills that would allow me to read that. We're really at a point here where I just need to wait the 2 minutes to read the book, and then we're ready to level up Edicts Martial. I'll probably want to be a little more thoughtful in terms of maybe the next steps that I want to take, so I could potentially read a few other books and try and level up some of the other skills that I'm interested in. Or I could get back to sort of farming and creating various dishes, but all of those are going to be tomorrow me problems to handle. I think that's it for tonight. I am actually starting to feel a little tired, and it is getting a bit late, but hopefully the extra day was worth it. So September 25th. So just a reminder to everybody, I am going to be streaming the House of Light expansion. It will be a new save that we're doing, but we're going to be starting that when the game becomes available on Steam tomorrow. Generally, I go late. Now, I don't set out to go late on these. It really depends on sort of how the audience is behaving. The thing here is that my understanding is that streaming the game really does actually help the sales. And so my usual guideline for myself, number one, as long as I'm feeling, alert and ready to go. It's one of the reasons why I want to make sure I have a proper night's sleep. But as long as I'm feeling ready to go, I try to make sure as long as the audience is sort of being maintained, ideally we will help sell a few more copies of this, which means people will Weather Factory will have the financial resources to be able to make the third game, and apparently the third game is in the Secret History setting. So for those of you that like the setting, hopefully they're able to realize it. But with that in mind, GOG did ask me to come and do another stream for them. Now that will be a separate save, so if I wind up doing that on Friday, there won't be a stream. Otherwise, I will be back on Friday. No idea about the time, just because I'm going to be recovering from tomorrow's stream, and then if I'm not streaming on GOG, I will probably stop by work just to peek in on a couple of things that I have left undone. But one way or the other, next week we will... next Monday is a day off in Canada, so it may be a week at most, but I will definitely make sure, especially if I don't wind up streaming on Monday, I will definitely make sure that I'm ready to go in terms of more Book of Hours, and we'll be continuing this save. So, as a final measure, let's just see who's online, and we'll see if we can host anybody. Okay. What else? I actually don't see anybody I know online, which is a little surprising for me.
Phantom Brigade, maybe? Nothing. All right. Well, on that note, I will wish you all a very good evening. I'm sorry I don't have anybody to host, but that's how it turned out. I suspect you're probably asleep, but Olaf T. Harry, very happy. A new My Time. I didn't see that, Selfie. Let me just see here. Oh, does it not say the name? So, builders here, gearing up for the next My Time game, aiming for the second half of September. Okay, nope, that's fine. I will raid Snoot TV. So, Evershine. Okay. I still haven't played My Time at Portia. Anyways, on Selfea's recommendation, we will raid Snoot TV. I hope you all have a lovely evening. Again, hopefully I get a chance to see a few of you on the Steam stream. If not, I'm not taking attendance. But again, a little uncertainty in terms of the next broadcast. I will try and say on Twitter or something when I have a clearer idea in terms of what's going on. But until I see you next time, have a wonderful evening. I hope those of you who do wind up playing House of Light enjoy it as much as I am. And for those of you who just like watching, there will be some wonderful streamers who are covering this game just after the release of the new expansion. Anyways, have a good night. Please enjoy Snoot TV. Take care.